Damn, I hate starting late, man. Just like a nigga, man.
Absolutely.
Hey. Yo, we here. This might be risky. DJ Hampton Stampede in the building. What's poppin', Alex?
Hey, Hamp.
What's good?
Is that okay for you, Chief?
I love it.
Okay, good.
Love, what up?
What's popping? Everything major over here, baby. We major.
He thought I said bub, but that's all right. Love, what up?
You got to enunciate, Hamp. Say it loud. Say it with your chest. What's up, love?
Watch your mouth.
What's going on, Hamp?
What up? Q was good.
You already know what the fuck going on. You see what the fuck going on. Yeah.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit
Yeah,
like
man,
that.
I don't
shit
really
like
fuck
that,
with
shit
Africa
like
like that, but I gotta support my people, man.
I fucks with it. Appreciate you.
Chief was good. How was the show you went to?
It was cool, man. Q did her thing. It was dope. It was good to see my people in person, though. You know what I'm saying? That's
You funny or she funny?
She did her thing.
Bro, what's up?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Huh?
What
Bro,
up?
let me explain something to
Good
you.
evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Something to you. All that soft energy you leave that shit on yesterday. All right?
That's just preparing. I'm trying to come in slow. I don't want to come in hot.
No doubt. I got Chef in the back too. Man. Gunny was good. How was Asia and all that?
Oh, it was great, man. Had a really good time. Hot. Had a good time. Salute to the panel. Ready for a great conversation.
No doubt. You freezing up a little bit. Mr. White was good.
Yo, what's good, my boy?
Hey, shit. Everything's
Throw
everything.
the joke at the glasses. Get it out the way. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, I wasn't gonna say it. I just know you did a bid to get them glasses. That's what they look like.
They came in prison. They're not that thick.
Huh?
They're not that thick. They got a little reflection in them though, but they're not that bad.
Asia, you don't know nothing about gel glasses. Huh?
What's up, A?
Shout out to Mike Brown.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
It's gonna be a good one, man. Mike, we appreciate you, bro. Chaotic, what up, though?
Salute to you guys. Happy Memorial Day or Memorial Weekend. Living the greatest country on the planet. And thank you for inviting me, Risky, and salute to the panel.
No doubt. Chaotic, why they saying I'm here for you? They think you in trouble?
I have a lot of people who support me, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Mike Brown, thank you so much as well. Mike from Boston, what's up, man? How you doing? Go ahead, guys.
All-star panel tonight, man.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
Once again, like, share, subscribe, tell a friend and tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. It helps the channel the most. All right, y'all give me a second. Let me share my screen real quick. Damn. Where is it? Where is it? Oh. All right. Give me a second. Y'all can see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, cool. Let me rewind it.
African people stay here, I have Jamaican people stay here, I have white people stay here, I have Spanish people stay here, and I have Black Americans stay here. I'm not saying not all Black Americans are bad, but the ones that came to my place have been nothing but problems. Only two good ones came here, all of them. Fight late at night, not with me, with each other. They're disrespectful, they're entitled, they're unappreciative. And it is that way because America has spoiled them and give them so much free shit. But I think they could come to Jamaica and get the same free shit out here and be nasty about it. I don't think all of you like that. But because of that, I'm not risking my health and my happiness for people. No short-term stay. No short-term stay. It's not going to happen here. I'd rather eat salt and banana and let goats and cows live into my houses than I have people come and stress me. I will not hate my business because of customers. A lot of business people are miserable because of some kind of customer. Not this place. I don't want my place is drama free.
Did you guys see this, hear about this, witness this video previously?
I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So everybody understands the context of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you think? So Jamaican lady doesn't want blacks at her Airbnb. What you guys think about that?
I feel her.
You feel her?
Absolutely.
Why is that?
I agree with her.
Yeah, because she right. Black people be acting the fuck up. Like we are entitled. Overly, entitled. You go into a whole nother country, why would you disrespect this woman's home? You know what I'm saying? She providing you a service. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like we get into these Airbnbs and shit like that, and we be acting up like it's our own crib, tearing shit up. Like she said, why would you come over there? You on vacation? Why would you come over there acting up at night? You're supposed to be enjoying yourself. You know what I'm saying?
What did she say they did?
Well, she pretty much, she didn't really get into a lot of detail. She was just basically saying that they was acting up, in her dwelling.
Do you think that acting up could have been they had a party or something? Where they was drinking and talking loud?
Well, I would say if she's venting to this extent, they was probably acting up, bent, coming at each other's necks, probably fighting and shit like that.
That's what she said. She said they was fighting that night and disrespecting each other.
She says they're fighting, they're disrespectful, and they come off as entitled.
Okay. All right, go ahead, love. You about to say something?
Yeah. So she said Black Americans, but I think she said Black people, Black Americans. But then later on, she was just saying Americans are entitled, and so I can get with that. I think that Americans.
So just to be clear, she's talking about Black Americans.
Okay.
100%.
Okay, 100% Black Americans, but because she was saying Americans too, like in other parts, she didn't specify Black. But I think that there is an elitist mentality with Americans overall. So I wouldn't just call out Black Americans. I think that there's an elitist mentality with Americans overall. When we travel internationally, like we typically don't even try to learn the language of the land that we're going to. I'm not saying Jamaica's a different language. I'm just giving an example. But I think that we believe that we are the best country in the world, and we take that elitist attitude over to the countries that we visit. And I'm going to say Americans overall. I wouldn't say just Black Americans. And maybe she's saying that because maybe only Black Americans have stayed at her Airbnb because they want to stay in that part of town. She doesn't look like she's in the resort area. She might be actually looks, from what I saw in the video, obviously more residential, but they have the Airbnbs, not a resort. And so maybe the Black Americans that she's referring to have only wanted to stay in the residential where the native Jamaican people are. So that's her experience. But I think that if she was to get more of, mixture, she would mean overall Americans.
She did though, love. She compared the Black Americans to other nationalities.
I think that she gets more. I think she gets more of the Black. I'm going to say blacks. I can say that. I think she has more of the blacks in her area, and that's why she's saying that. But I'm saying, overall, my general sentiment with Americans, period, is that there's an elitist attitude. So I'm not going to just relegate it to Black people.
So one fact is I don't want to steal anybody's talking points. So let it ride for a second. Gunny, I noticed you made a couple faces as love was going. Did you have something you disagree with?
Yeah, no. Let's focus on Black Americans, and Black Americans, Jewish Americans, Asian Americans, white Americans. We all have different subcultures in this country, and people from other nations, they know that. We know it too. I just think that we just turn a blind eye, and we're all not we're not the same. We're not the same. Black Americans have a way about themselves that people from other nations notice, and they don't want to deal with us. And we can lump ourselves amongst all Americans if we want to, but that's not how they look at us. They don't look at us like they look at us as Black Americans. And we're privileged, we're spoiled, we're entitled, we don't take care of the benefits that we have in this country. And that's specifically to Black people.
Love, if you want to rebut?
No, because I said what I said. Like I believe, and I gave the example of why I feel that way. When Americans, that's a complaint. I've traveled internationally to where I purposely have tried to learn a little bit of the language. So when I get to the land that I'm going to, I show them that I've tried to embrace their culture or by embracing their language. And so I know that's one of their biggest complaints, that Americans just come over there just assuming that English is going to be spoken and or understood, and they don't even try to understand the language or the culture. They just like, this is who I am, accept it. So I think it's an overall American issue, not just Blacks. I see nothing to say besides that.
And that's why I disagree. I don't think that's their biggest issue. The language barrier is not their biggest issue. The biggest issue for people internationally is the same issue that we have here in the United States. That when Black folks en masse go anywhere, you're going to have certain problems. It's the same here. It is international.
It's a class issue, not a Black issue. I think it's a class issue because we're not a monolith. So that's right. That's the last rebuttal I'll give on this. But I think it's a class issue, not necessarily a race issue.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, just in terms of the video contextually, she's talking about Black people for sure. Also, the Chinese are probably the most hated travelers, because their conduct is a lot. I mean, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong. They rude. They don't skip seats. They don't skip urinals. It's just a different ball game. So,
I would disagree with that. I would say Indians, but that's just based on my personal experience.
Indian probably close second, right there. Chaotic, yeah. Chaotic. What you think?
Well, I'm about to bring some chaos. I'm gonna come from a multiplicity of arenas. So if you guys have a few minutes, hear me out. Okay. The Chinese were fairly unpopular in a survey, particularly in parts of Asia. They were named as the worst tourists in Australia, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. This is from escape.com. Now, I want to point out something. Miss Risky mentioned language. Well, English, as far as I can remember, is the lingua franca or of the Western Hemisphere. Pidgin English and patois, that's a primitive language. When we as Americans go into Jamaica, which is a third world shithole, they should be honored, if you ask me, that we are even there. They should be honored that American Blacks, particularly who have a spending power of $2 trillion, are there. This lady showed no facts. She showed no evidence. And I know you guys are surprised that I'm taking up for the Blacks tonight, but I'm the chaotic truth. I take up for Blacks when I have to. She showed no facts and evidence. I think at this time period, she's trying to go viral using Black Americans as a talking point now, because Black Americans are trending on TikTok. If you mention Black Americans are trending on YouTube, etc. But Black Americans have a $2 trillion spending power. Do you know what the GDP of Jamaica is? $14 billion. The average American lives 10 times better than the average Jamaican. We are American too, the last time I checked. This whole thing of respecting other people, that's bullshit. We are conquerors by nature. That's why the rest of the world loves us. We are to conquer people. We are to spread our culture throughout the planet. What has Jamaica offered humanity other than Bob Marley, weed smoking, and plantain? What do these people import and export? Who cares about what they think? If you ask me, I think it's a perfect time to show this lady what Americans are all about. I think that thousands of American blacks should get on YouTube and make videos dogging this lady in her shitty compound that nobody in their right mind wants to go to. Let me show you guys something real quick about Jamaica. And I'm about to land a plane on this. Jamaica not only is a shithole, Jamaica, the American government gives $25 million in foreign aid to Jamaica. Jamaica doesn't give the United States government a goddamn thing. Jamaica, and the nerve of this lady, and she is hot, by the way, but I got to give her some smoke. The nerve of this lady. Jamaica is one of the top 5 countries, countries on the planet, robbery, crime, you name it. Most people who go to Jamaica don't even leave the resort. So the nerve of this lady to dog Black Americans and Black Americans are sitting back like, oh, why she say that? I think Black Americans should throw smoke every which way at these foreign people. But that's just my opinion, though. And I rock with Jamaicans. But I got to call it like I see it. Americans are superior. And the Black American is the most superior African on the planet. Give these people hell every damn minute. I know I do. I couldn't let some Jamaican talk shit about me in my face. I'll tell them every which way and how to go with that plantain eating language bullshit they got. But that's just me. Sorry, guys. I've been drinking.
They can't be too worthless because between China and Venezuela, they've invested over $62 billion in that land. So they can't be too much of a shithole. They got
some response to her too. She's probably risky when she's done.
Ro, you finished?
Ro, you know why China invested so much money into that shithole? It's because they're planning on conquering it, but they're doing it economically. Eventually, every morsel of Jamaica will be owned by the Chinese. Because you know why? How can the Japanese pay that debt off in 100 years? So yeah, the Chinese will build bridges, they'll build roads, just like they're doing in Nigeria and Ghana, and just like they're doing in Uganda and every other part of Africa. Imports. But in 100 years, when China comes to collect, and those African powers don't have that money, you know what the Chinese are going to do? They're just sitting in their military. Oh, this is our stuff now. So that's what China is really doing. You should really get into
what they're doing, but the reality is they're investing in their land. So their land is becoming valuable. It is becoming valuable. That's all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. You believe what you believe, but I'm gonna tell you, you
belief,
probably won't be here.
That's a fact.
In the 22nd century, you won't be here, and I won't be here. But I guarantee you, your grandchildren will go to Jamaica, and Jamaica will be a Chinese colony.
I'd like to respond. To Chaotic as well. Farrakhan had a famous interview with Mike Wallace, and he said, let's not play holy. Black Americans are not in a position, they're not in a position whatsoever to tell anybody off or dictate to anybody else in any foreign land about what they should be doing. You talked about the GDP of Jamaica, $1 trillion of spending power, and what has Jamaica done? That has nothing to do. With the premise of what she was talking about. She was talking about Black culture and how when Black people come to her country, how they act. That's the point that we should be focused on. Black American culture. And we are not in a position to dictate to anyone how they should act. We're not. That's the point of the video. So everything that you bring up about China, it's all irrelevant. Respectfully.
Can I give you a response?
Yeah, give a concise response, because I know there's a couple. We need to get a couple other people in. Go ahead, CT.
First off, that ain't Black American culture. You know what Black American culture is? Neil deGrasse Tyson, Sylvester James Gates, Macy Jameson, Delta Sigma Theta, Alpha Phi Alpha. Black culture is elite culture. That nigger culture is just like redneck culture in the white community. We should ignore that culture and admonish it just like the whites do. I don't recognize that culture. I recognize no, give me a second, sir. I recognize black elitism, and I will be goddamned if some third world woman is talking about the greatest African people on the planet living in that shithole that she's living in. She lives on a landmass that produces nothing but plantain, sir. There are no exports coming out of that country, sir. You as an African American, sir, you should curb stomp, not physically, but you should curb stomp any third world person disrespecting you, sir. And you are a part of American history, sir. Your people built this country, sir. They built the roads, they built the skyscrapers. They were in West Virginia just along with those whites digging up coal. It's shameful when African Americans acquiesce power to third world people, and it's disgusting. Today on my platform, I hate to say this about my guy, this guy named Mr. S. He's an Arab. He was dogging the American military. I said, sir, if it wasn't for the American military, your Arab ass will be saluting the Third Reich right now. If it wasn't for us, and you better be careful.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
Is coming knocking at your door, and you're gonna need our primitive, backwards American military crazy asses in a minute, though. Sir, it is disrespectful, sir. That lady should be shamed from here to there, sir. In my opinion. Sorry about that. I'm blacking out. Go ahead.
No. It's all good. Now you don't identify with that. You call it N-word culture. I don't call it. I call it black culture. I call it black culture. When the majority of us support liberals, when the majority of us support agendas that are detrimental to our community, that means that the majority of our community is this way, whether we like it or not. It is black culture. And we have to, now everybody on the panel, none of us can identify because we're all productive citizens. We're all doing what we're supposed to do. But in mass, do black people think the way that you think or anybody else on this panel? Absolutely not. So we have to accept the fact that our culture is flawed. We've taken on collectively a certain mindset that is problematic for us as black people, whether we like it or not. And all those people that you named, they're heroes. But we can also name, we can name Tupac, we can name the drug dealers on the corner, we can name the pimps, we can name the hoes, we can name all these people that are associated with black people. And they all tie in.
And I could name Robert F. Smith, who's my fraternity brother, who's a billionaire. I can name Melody Hobson, who's a black woman who's a billionaire. Not by entertainment, not by sports, but by the fact that she's a brilliant equities trader. I can name so many blacks, sir, who have nothing to do with rap culture or sports culture. See, that's you, sir. And that's a segment of blacks. But sir, I don't identify. A lot of blacks don't identify with that.
Are you the minority or the majority?
I don't think about black success, sir. When I think of Tupac, I think of a criminal gangbanger or pretend gangbanger. I don't care about Tupac, sir. Respectfully, I care about elite blacks.
Are you the minority or the majority, sir?
Sir, the redneck is not the majority either, sir.
That's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you. Are you the minority or the majority?
My good sir, it does not matter if I'm the minority or the majority. The people who run society are the elites, just like in white culture. The hillbillies, sir, are not the majority. I mean, the hillbillies are the majority, but they don't run white culture, and white people don't recognize them as white people. You should come to my panel. There's so many whites who don't recognize hillbilly whites as white people. They'll flat out say those ain't white people. We got to
respectfully, sir. For the third time, are you the minority or the majority? Your way of thinking.
In my opinion, sir, I'm the superior black.
You can't answer the question. Understood.
I didn't answer your question because you're giving me a question. You're giving me a question based on the parameters in which you want me to answer it. Okay. What you are, in my opinion, sir, I'm the majority. The people I've known growing up grew up in nuclear families. The people I knew growing up have master's degrees on up. the blacks that I've encountered, I you know, truth be told, since I got on YouTube, I didn't realize there was so many downtrodden blacks. I grew up around elite blacks, so me hearing about these things is new to me. Okay, all I'm saying is that what that Jamaican lady did and how she went viral is disgusting. She went viral on an American-made platform, social media, which is created in America. I think it was TikTok or Facebook, or one of the two. She's talking about African Americans who are better than her, and it's disgusting in my opinion. And I can't believe how we've gotten as a culture where we will sit back and listen to a foreigner talk about us. It's disgusting. We should be.
No, I agree with that. And really quick, I just want to make this quick point. I agree with you. From my personal experience,
let me just tell y'all doing a bad job listening. All right, y'all doing a bad job listening. So we don't want to monopolize the show with y'all two going back and forth. And neither one of y'all points are very concise. So if you're gonna tell me it's concise, let's make it concise so we can go around the room. All right, go ahead, Gunny.
Yeah, my bad. My apologies. My apologies to the panel. Respectfully, I can agree with your point. I am the majority from my personal experience, just like you are, from my personal experience. But based on my way of thought and my thinking, I am the majority when it comes to the majority from what I've seen. As far as black people in general, I'm the minority when it comes to the group. That's my opinion, and that's what I was asking you. And I think that as the minority in regards to the group, we have to do a better job of speaking out against the minority that infiltrates our culture and pollutes it.
But how do you know that lady in Jamaica is telling the truth? She showed no video footage. She showed nothing. She showed no police report. How do we know that those are African Americans disrespecting her property? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. She's just saying it because, in my opinion, the most popular people on the planet are African Americans. So it's easy for her to say African Americans, but she showed nothing. I understand what you're talking about, but my thing is that why allow this bamboo eater to talk about African Americans? I don't care if they are the downtrodden project type or the elite black. It's disrespectful for these people. I can't stand a foreigner disrespecting this country.
That's solid. That's solid. Alex, go ahead.
So a few things. So first of all, my family's Jamaican, so we're not going to do that and continue to be disrespectful. We're not. You can have your
turn her mic up. Ham, you got to turn her mic up. I can't hear her.
I said we all have our thoughts and views and opinions, but what we're not going to do is sit here and continue to disrespect Jamaica. That's first and that's foremost. Second of all, chaotic, just for clarification, you have said in the past you don't want people disrespecting black. You have just said previously, right here, right now, you don't want people disrespecting Black Americans at all. Yet you went ahead in previous episodes and you disrespected Black women. I don't want a Black girl coming to serve me. I will ask for another server.
Yes.
Did you not say that? So where is that? So is it okay for you to go ahead and to say something about them?
I'm an American. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want to clarify. Now, let's be specific.
I'm superior. I can say whatever I want to say. Yes. I'm a part of the greatest country on the planet, and I contribute to the economy here. And if I don't want to be disrespected,
it was a yes or no question.
It was a yes or no
question. Let her get her time. Let her get her time.
I'm gonna go on mute.
Okay. Now, let's be specific and clear to the question that was coming across the board. We are speaking on her opinion. No, she may not have showed video. She may not have shown police report, but she was speaking on her opinion. Just like you come on and you speak about your opinion. Opinion is that. It is yours to own and to have. And in her experience, she is saying that the customers that have gone ahead and given me the most issues were Black Americans. And to Gunny's point, I do agree. Black Americans, we have a culture. When you look at other countries and when people speak about us, Africans say that Black Americans are this way, this way, this way, and that way. Other people have a perception on Black Americans. Even Americans in this country have a perception on Black Americans. And that is something that you cannot sit here and deny. So whether you agree with it or not, whether you want to call it a shithole country or not, it's reality for a lot of
I want to respond to her, Ham.
Hold on.
It is reality for a lot of other people. So whether you choose to believe that or not, it is their perspective, it is their opinion, it is their experience. And you cannot downplay that. So whether you like that she went ahead and she went on to YouTube, American Made or whatever, what have you, that is her right to go ahead and to do so. And it's the truth. As Black Americans in our culture, we do go places and we cut the fuck up. And it just reality is. We go there, people say that we are loud, we are disrespectful, we fight. You have said so yourself, we are ghetto. We are all of these things. So let's not go ahead and pick and choose when it is beneficial to you because someone else from a quote unquote shithole country is going ahead and speaking about us. We're not going to do that.
I would love to respond to her. I would love to respond to her.
I'm not sure what
Wait, before you respond, yeah, but give me a second. Before you respond, Q, I want to get you in. Are you piggybacking on what Alex is saying, or you have a different POV?
I have a different point of view.
Okay.
I do have to.
Oh, no. Just hold, just for a second.
Yeah.
Chaotic. Respond succinctly. Is that the right word, love?
Alex, no disrespect to you. Alex, I could care less if your family's from Jamaica. Jamaica is a toilet. When people go there, they go to the resorts. If it were not for tourism, it would look like Haiti. Let's be completely honest. The fact of the matter is that I don't care if it's an African. I don't care if it is anybody on the planet, sir. Oh my God, ma'am. I am tired of people disrespecting African Americans openly. We are the wealthiest people on the planet. I'm talking about Americans. And you literally have but there is a anti-patriotic sentiment in this country going on, and I would argue that it's created by the left. Every day I hear people disrespecting this country. I could give a goddamn what anybody outside of America, especially in Africa, has to say about an African American. There are people in Africa walking around with plates in their lips. There are people in Africa still living like it's a goddamn stone age. There are people in Africa right now in Nigeria, where my people are from, who don't even have running water on a daily basis, no electricity on a daily basis. The nerve of these people who get subsidies and foreign aid from America to disrespect the African American, whom, by the way, let's talk about culture. Let's just say the culture is a ghetto culture. The ghetto culture here is better than any shithole shanty town in Liberia, Angola, Nigeria, South Africa, etc. People over there have dirt floors in their homes. They don't even have infrastructure and regulation on stuff there. It's nerve-wracking hearing this anti-American sentiment. I can't believe
you just stereotyped an entire continent of human beings.
It's not a stereotype. It's a truth. And you know what's the truth? You don't live there, Gunny, and you would never live there.
I'm just gonna close it up.
Have running water. Stop.
It's interesting for you to say the culture this and the culture that, and how dare someone say this, but how dare you speak up on Black people the way you have. You have again talked about Black women. You have said, I don't want to live around Blacks. You've said that. You have said those things. So is your issue that someone else who is not American, I just want to clarify, is your issue that someone else who is not American had the nerve to go ahead and to speak on Black culture? And is it then okay that you can go ahead and you can downplay and speak poorly and not highly of Black people?
What have I said about Black people that you don't like?
And that is true. You have to, when you spoke about Black women, when you were calling our children neglets, all of those things.
Okay.
I'm asking.
What did I say specifically?
I'm asking you,
Alex. What did I say specifically?
Chaotic. You said a lot of different things.
Okay.
Calling children monkeys in classrooms.
Okay. Are they not?
That's one.
Like,
so are you
hold on a second. Me being a teacher
in America.
Ham, what's going on over here? Can I talk?
Chaotic, you've been talking since we started. I'm just
me calling what I see children who are jumping off their desk monkeys. So what?
And
why
her
does that bother you? Are those your kids?
Americans, when they come to visit her place of business in her home, as acting as disrespectful, fighting.
Because you are allowing a non-American to do.
Alex, is it the sentiment that I can talk about my brother doesn't mean you can?
That's what I'm trying to understand, and if that's how he
that's
feels,
what he's saying. He's saying like I could talk about my people. Don't mean I'm gonna let everybody talk about my people. What do you think about that?
No worries. Go ahead, Hamp. I'm sorry.
I'm saying, what do you think about that sentiment?
I think that's a cultural issue with Black Americans, right? We can agree that we can all have sat here collectively say we cut up, we do the most. But now it's an issue when someone else is saying this is our perception of Black Americans.
Because you're allowing an inferior person to disrespect you. She is living in an inferior environment. It's inferior. You know why it's inferior? Because the American government subsidizes that toilet hole of an island. Every year, your tax dollars goes into that island. And the nerve of this woman to disrespect essentially you and everybody on the panel is mind-boggling. We protect that island. You know why? It's in the Western Hemisphere. We also protect every African country. We give them foreign aid. It's nerve-wracking hearing foreigners who aren't even American citizens disrespect African Americans. Show me the proof of African Americans acting a fool at this little resort, which is really a mud hut on scale. That's all I saw.
Let me get Q. Q it up.
It ain't. Go ahead, guys.
First of all, I want to say shout out to Robert F. Smith. I think y'all should really check his YouTube interview out with Steve Harvey. You might get enlightened. I think he's a very powerful brother. I want to say shout out to Lance for subscribing. You feel me? And
give me a second, guys.
I don't think anybody on the panel thus far, other than Love, has said anything with any sense. And I say that because I haven't heard any points that are made concisely. Like y'all just going back and forth and arguing. And this ain't got shit to do with being patriotic and standing up for America and not letting a foreigner talk about a Black American. That is one of the dumbest points that I've ever heard. Contrary to that, I think there's some bias on your end, Alex, if I can be fair. And then Gunny, you just like to yell and argue. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think anybody's really said something with substance. So, as I'm listening and I'm taking in this video, and I did see this prior, what she said makes a lot of sense to the average person who has a certain perspective of Black Americans. But when you actually listen to what she's saying, it makes no sense. It sounds like there's a lot of bias on her part. It sounds like that has only to do with certain experience that she has. And if you really look at that place, it's giving, you get what you pay for. Because I'm pretty sure there's much nicer places in Jamaica to stay at. So if you're, God only knows what she's charging for that place, yeah, you're probably going to get that kind of clientele that's going to come there and fuck shit up. That ain't got shit to do with Black Americans. And I also have over the years taken issue with people in other places, especially island people, not really giving a fuck about the Black that is them or trying to detach themselves from the Black that is them. So in a lot of ways, they don't fuck with us. They got shit to do with, oh, you guys are this and you're that and you're that. They'll say that type of shit, but it's like, I'm from Connecticut. I don't know if y'all ever been to Hartford, but the ab up there, where the Jamaicans really be at, don't look any better than any other Black American community. So you feel what I'm saying? When I'm looking at that, it's like, so what makes y'all so much better? You look at these videos of the fucking dance halls that they be tearing, no disrespect to you, Alex, that they be tearing up, helicoptering bitches and breaking tables and shit. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all helicoptering bitches and breaking tables and destructing nightclubs. So it's like she can't really say that and stand on it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it just sounds like a bluff. It sounds like somebody who made some poor business decisions. And then when shit didn't go the way she wanted to, she just took an attack on Black America because she don't probably fuck with Black people in America anyway.
Yeah, your sentiments, exactly. And I could be, yeah, you kind of, it sounds a little bit like Chaotic's points a little bit cute though. What do you think?
Yeah, minus the America's the best country, and I need to just stand up for them for that because he done said a lot of fucked up shit about Black people. So yeah, nah. That'd probably be the difference, but yeah.
Let me read some super chats real quick. Shout out to Gary S becoming a new member.
Shit like that.
The entry fee of $20. Ratchet Conservative with the $2 super chat. American property owners say the same thing though. Bruh. And Cuban Libertarian, what's up, bro? Same platforms that push BLM are now pushing videos of African Americans acting wild. In my opinion, they want to drive a wedge between conservatives and African Americans before the upcoming election. Pound stay woke, pound hotep, pound socialism sucks. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. In terms of, so I guess anecdotal experience, this is what she went viral on. So I have an Airbnb also that I rent out. The people that usually give me the most headache are the white folks. They make a mess. They don't wash the dishes well, and that hair just don't come up. I don't know. It got like, it's like I don't know what it is, but it's hard to vacuum. And they break a lot of stuff. So, but now to be fair to her, when people rent, you have to rate them just like they rate you. So maybe in her 50 rentals, maybe the black people are the ones that, I guess from her assessing her rentals, maybe she had the most issue. So there might be some substance there. It might not just be her just looking at niggas and using propaganda against them.
No, you get nice about it. Fuck all that. That's really what it boils down to. I'm sure. I've been in some rooms with some conversations that people have about us, and it's like, oh, so y'all don't identify with being black much. Okay, got you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, word, Chief, you got anything on this?
I pretty much empathize or sympathize with what you were saying in regards to, like, I just think it's circumstantial and obviously opinion based on her experiences. You know what I'm saying? Like you could put the same post about the white people who went to your spot. You dig what I'm saying? And she made it based upon the shit that she went through. And we speculated a lot of shit, but we can go on the other end. We don't know if she even fucking lives in Jamaica. She could be just visiting and going to see her property. She don't even probably live, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know what her circumstances are, but she has every right to be upset about a property she worked hard for to Airbnb to make some more money, and people are destroying it or causing problems for her. So there's no, who or what the person is, I think is just relevant to her experiences. So that's that.
Yeah. Chris, do me a favor. Go take a long walk off a short rooftop. Go play in some traffic, bitch ass nigga.
Put him in a fucking bedroom. Get him out of here.
Hating when motherfuckers just be nigga like. You don't produce nothing. I usually don't even care about the comments, but that just irked me. My bad. Let me get this super chat real quick. Gary Grant with the $22 super chat. What up, though?
Shit like that.
Mr. Chaotic, I see you like to disrespect my country. Thank you. What up, my little brother Hint? What's good? Uh-oh. Mr. Grant coming for you, CT. Roz Girl with the $10 super chat. I'm Caribbean/American. And I totally agree with Chaotic, a comedian, Q Turner. Any thoughts on the super chats? You on mute, CT?
No, go ahead, Q.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that's why I said I think Love had the most insight. Like, it's really an American thing. To that point, you mean to tell me all the white people that done went to your Airbnb, they ain't never had no wild parties, trash shit, left hair, and bullshit all over the place? Like, you really just had a major attack for black people. And then to put that, like, you just gonna say, oh, I don't want black Americans at my place because black Americans act this way of black Americans. No, Americans can act very entitled going places. Let's just keep it a buck.
She ain't say she ain't want them there though, Q.
I thought she did say that.
She said they be acting up the most.
Did anybody else understand that she didn't want to rent to them anymore?
She said some black Americans in a longer version.
Oh, okay.
But I could acknowledge what Asia said though, or Love, I'm sorry. What she said in reference to Americans, we are very entitled when we travel places. But again, being specific to the question that is coming up and the topic that we were talking about, she is speaking on her experience. And again, that's not to also, we have to also understand that this is a perception that is had about Black Americans, whether we agree with it or not, whether we feel that way. This is a perception that people have about us as a culture. And that's not something to be ignored. I'm saying that we are in this conversation. I'm just saying in general. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Alex, because we've been on for 44 minutes now. And this is a classic example of what liberals do. They try to confuse us, and they try to distract us from what the main talking point should be. The main talking point should be, well, do black folks have issues in this country that they need to address? Do black folks need to be accountable? Yes. And we went completely away from that because we're too far focused on what China's doing, how crappy Jamaica is. We're focused on all these non-issues instead of focusing on the main reason why this woman didn't want to rent her Airbnb out to black people, which is rooted in truth.
Gunny.
It's rooted in truth that we just don't even talk about.
Gunny.
We haven't been talking about it the whole time.
Gunny.
Alex is the only one that's been bringing it up. Everybody else has been talking about every other issue other than what we should be talking about.
I am willing to bet through data the number one tourist in Jamaica in terms of racial demographic are not African Americans. I'm almost willing to bet it's not a horde of African Americans traveling. First of all, I think you need your passport to go to Jamaica, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. Most Black Americans don't even have a goddamn passport. Let's be honest. And let's be honest. I have a lot of friends who went to Jamaica. And they're Black. They refuse to leave the resort because Jamaica's so goddamn violent. So I don't know what this lady is talking about. I think this lady is lying. And what I'm trying to say, Gunny, I get what you're saying. Trust me. If anybody, likes talking about African-American niggas, is me. But in this instance, I cannot let this lady do this because it starts with talking about the easiest group in America, the Blacks. Then she'll start talking about other groups. And then she'll start talking about America. America is a target for people to talk about and disrespect because we allow it as Americans. I'm tired of being disrespected by foreigners. We give these people foreign aid. Jamaica would not be a nation state if it were not for American tourism. Let's be honest. And the nerve of these people. It just, again, I said it like 40 minutes ago. There's this British dude who called into my channel. I said, Happy Memorial Day. He said, oh, yeah, your army's pretty much trash. I'm like, my army's trash? You'd be speaking German if it wasn't for my army, sir. You'd be saluting the Fuhrer. He's been dead for 80 years. I can't stand people who are not American disrespecting this country. That's all I'm saying, Gunny. I get what you're saying. But I think this lady is lying. Show me some video footage of these African Americans. Drop their names. Why doesn't this Jamaican lady drop the names of these African Americans who demolished her stuff?
Okay, so really quick, if I can ask you this quick question. Do you think that Black Americans, based on your point, do you think that Black Americans have earned the bullseye on our backs?
No.
You think we've earned it?
When it comes to international travel, the worst, you go on YouTube, you go on stats, the worst travelers are Chinese. They literally defecate on the streets in some places. Okay. The worst travelers they have never been.
Gunny, we earned that shit, Gunny. We earned that shit. To see a whole Black family getting a fucking brawl at Disneyland a couple years ago is fucking disgusting. That was all over the place. So we definitely earned that shit, Gunny. Word.
See, this is what Absolutely. I'm saying. See, you guys think American, it's just like Travis Scott. He went over to Japan. Nobody knew him. Man, don't nobody watch y'all, man. You think the world knows you? The world doesn't know you. You're not that important in the grand scheme of the global marketplace. I understand you guys probably think you're dude, but ain't nobody thinking about no African Americans, man. And you think people in Ukraine who are getting their faces blown off are thinking about some African Americans? You think people in Bosnia are thinking about some African Americans? Ain't nobody thinking about you. You think Uyghurs in China are thinking about you? You think Japanese? Ain't nobody thinking about no African Americans other than African Americans in Africa. I mean, in America.
So then why are there so many liquor stores in Black communities? Why are there so many Black hair product stores in Black communities if no one outside of this country is thinking about us?
Drinking alcohol in America, sir? Don't you like drinking?
Yes.
If I came to America and somebody told me, hey man,
shit like that.
But sir, outside of America, man, you're not that important, sir. People are going through religious conflicts. In Sudan, sir, they have a war-torn government. They ain't thinking about no African Americans, man.
Sir, there are programs in place in other countries that give classes to people who are trying to migrate to our country about what communities to open businesses in.
Okay,
and the black community is at the top of that list, sir.
Name the program. What's the name of the program?
I don't know the name of the program.
Then why mention it if you don't know? Sir, then why mention it?
That's why I said programs.
Sir, when my family, oh my God, sir.
That's why I said programs.
What's the name of the program?
It's nothing specific.
What is the name?
That's why I said that's why I put the word. That's why I put the letter S on the end of it. I said programs.
What's the name of the program?
There are programs in place. I can't name a specific foreign program that targets the black community and why. Hold on, sir. Sir, I can't name a specific program in other countries that target our communities, but I'm from this country just like you are. So I can look at our communities and I can see why are there so many Korean Americans in our community?
Don't you like drinking? If I came to America, which is a free market society, and I noticed that blacks love drinking, I'm gonna open up a liquor store too. Ain't nobody gotta open up. Do you think it's pro? You think
that's general knowledge?
You think that the Korean government, sir? I'm sorry, let's Middle Easterns. You think that Middle Eastern governments have programs in their country sponsored by the state that teach them how to exploit blacks?
Why not? What are you talking about?
What's the name of it then? What's the name of it?
I don't know the name of it.
Why did you mention it if you don't know the name?
Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
It's common sense. Are you from the hood, sir? Are you from the hood? Are you from the hood?
Gunny.
Are you from the hood, sir?
Gunny.
If you're from the hood, you can go on any corner and you'll see a Korean store. You'll see a Japanese store. You'll see an Asian food market. You'll see these businesses operated by people who are not from our communities. You think that's coincidence?
Correct.
And you're trying to ask me a gotcha question that acts like you're. Come on, bro.
Could it be, sir? Elijah Muhammad, who died before you were born, who created the Nation of Islam in the 40s, almost 100 years ago. Before Arabs, before all these people came over here, said the same thing about the blacks. They love drinking, they love doing drugs. Sir, all you gotta do is come to America. Don't you blacks talk about it? Don't you sing about it? Ain't no programs. They ain't gotta do no programs, sir. You come here and see Negroes. They love drinking and smoking weed. What are you talking about? They rap
so
about
it's all coincidence then. It's all coincidence that Asians own businesses in the hood. That's all coincidence.
No,
you go to every hood in America. That's just a coincidence.
It's because your grandfather sold his store to the Koreans, sir. Let's be honest.
Why did he sell it?
Because just like most Negroes, you give them a large sum of money, they'll take it. But what does this have to do with?
Knock it off, dude. Knock it off.
That ain't what happened.
Knock it off, bro.
Q, let me
Knock it off, bro. You go to any hood in America and you'll find a store run by an Asian on every freaking corner in every hood in the country.
Sir, that ain't got nothing to do with it. That's your fault.
Yo, y'all, all right, y'all. I get. I'm telling you, man. Y'all motherfuckers just talking, man. God damn. Yeah, y'all acting like niggas, man. No decorum. Just yelling and fussing. Jesus Christ. Q, final thought on this, because them two niggas in the bottom corner, god damn it.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it back to I wanted to bring it back to the video. I didn't know if anyone else picked up on it, but the video itself was giving propaganda-like vibes. You know what I mean? Like, if you really looked at it, this lady's talking, she's showing the I guess the property that she's referencing, and it's given this completely different image of America, you know. Like, America has a lot of buildings. I should say, a lot of times when we think of America, we think of the city, right? The city has buildings, concrete. She's showing you the beauty that is Jamaica. There's trees and there's all this land. And then, like, right at the end, she takes a swim or something, I think. And it's like, so you're kind of selling this image of superiority. Like, we're so much better than you Black Americans. And that's a place that if people are going to think of Black folk, you kind of want them to I don't want to say idolize, but look at Jamaican people as a superior people in comparison to these Black Americans that you're speaking of. And I really like that a lot.
Interesting. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. That helps the channel the most. Let me read a couple super chats real quick. Shout out to my boy Lance, who also Lance just subscribed, right, Q?
Yep, you just subscribed.
Shit like that. Shit like
Word.
that. Shit
Stir
like
the
that.
pot,
Shit like
CT.
that. Shit like that.
Roz, the girl with the $10 super chat. I would never patronize a Black Jamaican Airbnb. That woman spoke enough for the masses of Jamaica. Whether she said some or not, she specifically said Black Americans. All right. Appreciate you, Roz, girl. Will with the $5 super chat. Let's not pretend that if a white person made the exact same argument about African Americans, we wouldn't feel different. And LaShawn with the $5 super chat. I think he talking to y'all two in the corner. Communication, the imparting or exchanging of information or news.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit
Hey,
like
man,
that.
hit that like button, man. We got 113 people in here. We have somebody fill me on the likes. I'm not on the other screen, but we got to get them up, man. That's what helps the channel the most. So I was going to lead into this, but Gunny kind of already touched on it. So let's talk about it. All right. Gunny touched on a lot of shit. I probably don't have no clue what I'm talking about. But I got y'all.
Can you bring up Christopher Johnson's comment, by the way? I just want to point something out.
All right, I got you.
Thank
Let me share this real quick. So they kind of touched on it. Chaotic was going back and forth with Gunny, of course, about the neighborhood, so on and so forth. So I just want to ask the question: do people want to live around Black people if they don't have to? I feel like we talked about this, maybe Chaotic, maybe a little bit, but do people want to live around Blacks if they do not have to? Gunny, I'll let you do the honors.
Wow. Absolutely not.
Which one, Chaotic? Let me know. This one?
Oh, yeah. Christopher Johnson says, me and my girl took a 10-day princess cruise. We were the only two Blacks on the ship. Like CT, Blacks ain't got money to travel. Might go to Myrtle Beach. Exactly. So I don't know what that Jamaican lady's talking about. She's acting like Blacks are just traveling outside the country. That's bullshit. Black Americans ain't traveling. Most Blacks don't even have a goddamn passport.
Yeah.
I got mine. But go ahead.
So Gunny. Damn, I just cursed Chris out too. My bad, Chris. Do people want to live around Black people if they don't have to? Gunny, what were you saying?
No, absolutely not. I think that's a sad reality. If Black people could make the choice, if they wanted to live in an all-white neighborhood or an all-Black neighborhood, they would choose an all-white neighborhood. I personally live in an all-white neighborhood. We're the only Black couple in the neighborhood, and it is what it is. It's peaceful over here, and hey, that's reality.
Okay. What say you, love?
I don't mind. I wouldn't mind living around Black people. Again, I'm gonna take it back to what I said an hour ago. I think it's a class issue because there are cruddy white people that throw litter on the ground. There's other ethnic groups that are dirty. I don't like litter on the ground. I don't like their dogs not being scooped up. You know, their droppings getting scooped up. I don't like trash on the street. I don't like loud music. I don't like the parties, you know, girls getting wasted and guys. I don't like that in my neighborhood. And so it's the class of people that I don't want to be around. There are wealthy Black neighborhoods where it's all Black and they're wealthy. And so I would love to live around them. Absolutely. Because they take care of their property. The property value is up. They care about landscaping and things of that nature. So the answer to your question, yes, people want to live around Black people. Well, I'm trying to answer this the right way. The answer to the question is do people want to live? Yes, I'm trying to answer in the affirmative.
So you're saying people do want to live around Black people?
Yes, we don't want to live around low class people, period. That's the issue. It's the class we don't want to live around, not Black people.
What about the propaganda, Asia or Love? Sorry, you know that Alex was stating like this is how people they view us. Do you think people are differentiating between what black person they deem good and bad?
Yeah. So what I think is, we talked about this maybe last year, it was a while ago, but the point was made, and I totally agree with it. Bad is accentuated. The worst, the cruddiest, the worst of a quality of a person is shown more. When you get on the news feeds and they interview people, it's like, oh man, we got to interview the most ignorant person they can find on the street, because that gets views, that gets clicks, that gets likes. The videos that show arguments, controversy sells. And so I think that it's shown, so the propaganda piece of it, that part is shown to say this is how this entire population of people act, because it fits into their narrative.
Yeah, I know, but if people don't, so hey, Mr. White, maybe you can help me clarify, because Chaotic made the point. He made a differentiation. I don't know if everybody heard it. He said niggas and black American, and he was saying that there's a difference there. I think it's easy to kind of go with that for the sake of the conversation. So, Mr. White, how do people differentiate between us if the propaganda, like Asia just proved, they use the worst of us for clickbait and people assume that we all act like that? How do people know the difference?
And I think that's the thing, they don't, right? So they automatically just see us as one. But if we all would give our anecdotal experiences, for the most part, those of us who grew up in the hood, like, it was straight. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you couldn't do certain things, but it was all love. It was cool. So put me with black people anywhere. And I love the point that Asia touched on too, with it being about class, right? But they're not going to show that. Like she said, they're going to show the worst of us. And since a lot of people don't have that, and then those who don't have the experience of being around black people, that's all that they're going to see. Then they'll have that one experience and attach that to everybody. And they're the ones with the voices too. So it's going to look like, dang, all black people are bad. But then they'll flip it, right? Like when you're talking about white people and how they won't even look at rednecks as their majority, but everything negative about the black person is the majority.
Oh, I see. So we're defined by our minority, you think?
Absolutely.
Okay. Ro, you nodding? You agree with that?
I agree. Like I said yesterday, I lived in Atlanta most of my life. Majority of the black communities, they are part of the elitists that Chaotic was talking about. Your Deltas and your Zetas and all of them live in gated communities. They all live together. Their income is the same, and they want to live with each other. They don't want to live in white neighborhoods. Gunny, you said you wouldn't mind living in a white neighborhood. Are you going to move to a trailer park with a majority of white people? I don't think so. I don't think you're going to do that. Your neighborhood, you're in your neighborhood, you're the only black person, but you have to also think about when your children go to school, how that affects them. So you have to understand that when you say you're going to live in a majority white neighborhood, you're not really going to live in a majority white neighborhood because you're not going to move to a trailer park. And so that's where we talk about the different income areas and the different social economic areas where black people do live together because that's what they want.
Shit like that, shit like that, shit like that, shit like that.
Solid, man. I think so, Gunny. And the reason why I shared the super chat at the time Ro was talking, because I feel like it aligns slightly. Roz Girl, shout out to Roz Girl, man. Hey, Roz Girl is one of the best moderators on YouTube. So all my sorry ass moderators, get it together, man.
Put him in a fucking bedroom. Get him out of here.
Roz Girl with the $10 super chat. At Gunny, do you choose not to live around black people, or is living in a white neighborhood a measure of success for you?
No, that's a fantastic question, and to Rose's point, she definitely has a great point. No, I don't purposely try to move around white folks, but just my personal experience, my income level as it goes up, the neighborhoods that I've lived in, they've been majority white, and that's coincidence, and that's my personal experience. So based on that, if I had the opportunity to choose, then I would choose living in a neighborhood that has been the best for my experience based on where I come from. Because where I come from, it was the complete opposite. And those experiences are not the same that I have right now. So that's a great question. And Ro, you definitely make a valid point. That's a valid point. I'll concede to that.
So you wouldn't move to a trailer park just because it's all white?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So you kind of agree with Love's point too, where the class of the people.
Love definitely makes a great point. It is a class thing, and we can break down why when you move to certain neighborhoods they're majority white or they're majority black based on class, and that's a different argument. But she definitely makes a good point. He's on mute.
Chaotic Truth Live with the $5 super chat. Jamaica has no industry and no powerful military. The nerve of this lady to pucker her lips to disrespect America is mind.
Shit like that.
I mean, literally, it's absolutely mind-boggling. Just like any other people on the planet.
Yeah. Word. We gotta put her in the bathroom for sure. Kevin C. with the what is this, Honduras? With the $75,
Yeah.
75 Honduras.
I think it plays at $2 in American dollars.
Okay.
Wow.
Many non-blacks do not have the mental span to separate majority productive black citizens from the minority worst black citizens. They won't do it. Yeah, Mr. Kev, I think, that's what I was kind of asking. Like, how do I don't think people take the time, nor can they differentiate, nor do they care to differentiate. Chief, what say you? Do people want to live around niggas if they don't have to?
It's a difference between niggas and black people.
My bad. I was funny a little bit. Go ahead, my bad.
To answer your question in regards to people, I don't think people want to live around black people based on what Mr. White said, with the minority of them identifying. They let the minority of us identify the majority of us. So no, I don't think they do. Do I? I would love to. And again, to Gunny's point, it's a matter of, as you financially level up, you move into better neighborhoods. I also think, though, not a lot of us, we look at the demographic of the city we're moving to. A lot of us aren't buying houses and walk around the neighborhood and going, I wonder if I'm all around all black people or from around all white people. You move in and you find out who the fuck lives next door. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that's predicated on whether or not you buy the place. You like the house, you buy it, and you find out who your neighbors are later on.
Really?
Again, demographics of you. I think you would search your demographics in the area, the city or town you live in, the schools, and so on and so forth. But in your particular neighborhood, you're not gonna. Do you scour your neighborhood and drive around and see what kind of family lives in each house before you decide to buy it?
Yep.
You asking me? Me? Yeah.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I check school stats too.
Yeah, but I mean that's what I'm talking about.
He acknowledged that.
Yeah.
But he's saying literally, like, who walking out that house?
I do that. I did that. I bought my house. I absolutely did.
There's no way you did that and still bought that house.
Yes, I did, because guess what? Well, first of all, don't put my business out there. First of all, second of all, I did do that, and not put my business out there even further than what you did. I don't want. Never mind. You got it. I'm gonna let you get the jokes on me. Ha 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 ha. But I know what I did. I did the right thing.
Like, Chief, and to that point, I knew where I was buying the house at. You know what I mean? Like, I knew what time it was.
Did you know the people prior to buying is what I'm saying? Did you know people who live in the area?
I knew I was gonna have to deal with some foolishness, is what I'm saying.
In terms of the niggas.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, so to answer the question, you would want to live around black people. Because you made a deliberate choice of this. So I think people in general, no, but I think the majority of us who are comfortable, and like Adrian, Mr. White said, growing up in that environment, we're comfortable around them. We can adapt to any environment. Do we want to live in a trailer park or in the hood? No. But if I would absolutely love to live in a gated community with a bunch of black people, 100%.
They exist, by the way.
Definitely, big time.
Well, you didn't ask me, Ham. Oh,
my bad. Go ahead. Look at sis. Ham, what? Your current neighborhood is scary.
Wow.
Ain't shit, boy.
Well, he's talking about mine.
Oh, yours as well. Go ahead, CT.
As much as I've been taking up for African Americans, I gotta also be honest with you guys.
Call him a windshield wiper too, Chief.
I love living around white people. They're different. They're different, man. They jog. They have walking parties. They do a lot of different activities, man.
And walking parties? Did you say walking parties?
Walking parties, meaning that it'll be 50 of them just walking.
Bruh.
I want to wake up. I want to wake up every morning to white women walking their Shih Tzus in the morning. I'm not sexually attracted to them, I'm married, but I just, wherever these people go, it's just heaven,
Latonia George is the same way.
Well, give me a second. Forget you, Razio. I'm not trolling. When I was in college, I loved hanging around the Divine Nine. I loved hanging around the blacks. But the whites were just more upbeat, man. They were just like, it was always like real positive being around. And when I was around the blacks, it was always that element of fighting, violence, even with the smart blacks. Whites are just different, man. Like they have a different culture. It's just, I feel like I can be myself around them. I can feel like I can act silly. When I'm around blacks, I gotta pretend. I gotta be hard. Yeah, what's up, man? I don't have to be like that around whites. I could just let go.
Where did you grow up?
Bro, give me a second. I didn't cut you off, bro. Give me a second. I'm almost done. So if it comes to a affluent black gated community or affluent white, I'm going to choose the white one, man. Every time. I want to be around white people. Wherever they go, man, they make it better. And that's the truth. And here goes the thing. There are a lot of failed black communities compared to a lot of failed white communities. And I've seen neighborhoods destroyed, neighborhoods that once, listen, I always talk about it on my channel, East Cleveland, Ohio, a once nice, beautiful white suburb in Northeast Ohio. It looks like Mogadishu right now. And it took 2 or 3 generations, man, for it to look affluent with affluent blacks, and it turned into chaos. A lot of times whites, they'll keep that community looking like heaven for 10, 15 generations, man. So it's always that element of destruction somewhere because blacks have too much of a proximity to their hood cousins, their hood people in their family. And they don't mind hood people moving around them. See, I do. I called the police on. See, it was a nigga speeding down the street the other day. I had the nerve to go out there and get his license plate. Call the police on him. See, a lot of blacks don't do that, but see, whites do that. They don't let stuff like that slip and slide. So I like being around white people. And then it's a Negro down the street from me right now. He got a pit bull. I got the nerve to call the city on this nigga because all it takes is one time for that pit bull to get loose and harm some kid. Why does he have this pit bull? Whites don't have those vicious ass animals. No, they do, I guess, in the trailer parks, but in generally nice white neighborhoods, it's golden retrievers, Shih Tzus. See, I want to see dogs like that. I don't even like dogs, but I don't want to see no damn dog that can rip my damn face off. But Negroes, it don't matter. The Negro, he could be affluent or not affluent. He always had that damn pit bull. It's a cultural thing in America. I want to be around white people. I'm sorry, man. White affluent.
I have a good question for you, Hannah. Do you identify with whites? I kind of heard that. And why do you identify more with whites?
I identify with whites because whites are, in this time period, they are very affluent. Their elites have done incredible things in the grand scheme of humanity. I mean, the quantum computer, rovers on Mars. Hear me ask me a question, Risky. I mean, think about what these people have done just in the last 25 years. Forget the past 100, 200 years. Forget the car and all the other stuff these people invented. These people have done incredible things, man. So I want to identify with the people who are winning. Now, of course, I'm black, but hey, man, white people are incredible people. You know, in July, I'm going to be celebrating White History Month. So I hope you guys come over for that. Go ahead, Risky.
So real quick, I'm going to call you a windshield wiper to your face because as Chief likes to sit there and say windshield wiper and double dutching. You just literally called out maybe 10 or 15 affluent blacks
I did.
a couple minutes ago. And now you're saying you want to be a part of the elite that have so much affluence and so much success. But you just called out maybe 30 or 45 minutes ago about all these other blacks that had all this success outside of sports and rapping. So which one is it? You can't talk out both sides of your mouth because you lose credibility.
I mean, listen. I can do what I want to do, really, but
you
let's
can.
be honest. Let's be honest. We like to discredit white people. I give white people credit. If it wasn't for white people, I wouldn't have Wi-Fi. I wouldn't have the internet. I wouldn't have a car. I wouldn't have any of this advanced technology. Let's be honest. And these people now, they're so downtrodden in society now that they can't even be proud to be white anymore. And I think that's shameful now. We can't even be proudful to be Americans anymore. Forget just white people, just black Americans can't even be proudful to be Americans because we're letting the weak people dominate now. So we got to get back. So I tell white people on my panel, man, embrace your whiteness. And I tell people who are American, embrace their Americanness. Don't let these. I got a lot of foreigners who call into my channel. They got every little opinion about America. And I got to constantly remind them, hey, man, we're superior. All it takes is a drone or two. You catch my drift? Don't, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Because it takes a drone or two. Just watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Go ahead. Go ahead, Risky.
Hey, Al. Yeah, I think she good. Alex, did you want to comment on this?
Yes. So, in mass, do people want to live around black people if they don't have to? The answer is no, sadly. I love Asia's point in talking about class and the social status of things. But the reality is, and going back to my original point about black culture and how we are perceived, black people in America are not perceived to have class. Outside of us, we know better because, if you grew up around black people, you understand how hospitable we can be and all of the great things about us. But when people who don't know us, outside looking in, they perceive us to be a particular type of way. We're going to be crazy neighbors. We're going to have the wild parties. We're going to be having all these people hanging outside in the yard and doing all of those things. So that goes back to it, to my original point about culture and how black Americans are seen in this country. People do not want to live around us. When they see black people coming in the neighborhood, the property value went down. That's a thing. People have those conversations. Now, for me personally, I don't have an issue living around black people. I prefer a mixed area more than anything because I don't want all of one too many things. I don't want to be around all white people, all black people, all Hispanic people. I don't want that. I want a mix of different people to live around. But more importantly, I want to live around people who have some act right. So whether you are black, brown, whatever it is, I want you to have some act right. I don't got time. I'm past that phase in my life where I want the music blaring at whatever this time of night. I'm past that phase in my life. But I think as you accumulate more money, as you grow and you mature, and as your status changes, you have the ability to move into different spaces. And unfortunately, in those spaces for a lot of people, and I can't speak outside the GMB area because there are a lot of affluent black areas, there are less black people there.
Do you think the partying stops as people get money?
I don't think it necessarily stops. I think that people tend to be more, in my viewpoint, I think people tend to be a little bit more cautious when they move into certain places. So I feel like when black people move into white spaces, I feel like we want to assimilate to them. Well, we don't want to being that we're the only black people in the neighborhood, we don't want to disturb these good white folks. We want to make sure that we are not making them uncomfortable when we get into their spaces. So we tend to want to behave because we don't want them to have the perception, and we do not want to feed into the stereotype that we are loud, obnoxious, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, so you deem our conduct as misbehaving.
I think that's how people view us, yes, as a whole.
What about you?
Do I view black people as?
Yeah, you think I just DJ'd 4 events at $4 million homes owned by black people. And it was loud party and we was drinking and whatever the case, having fun. Is that misbehaving? Because I know you said we behave when we get around white folks.
I don't think that's misbehaving if it's once in a while. I think the issue is deemed as misbehaving when it's something that's consistent. Are you consistently throwing these wild, lavish parties as if you consider it to your other neighbors around? So having something once in a while is not comparable to as people feel that we are always playing our music outside. We're always having gatherings. All these people are always there. I think there's one-off situations, and I think there's consistent situations. But I don't think as a whole in my experience that Black people, again, from where I am, have been bad neighbors, and I don't have an issue in living around Black people. I much rather, if I had to choose, I'd rather live around Black people over white people.
You would if you had to choose?
I don't trust white people, yeah.
Okay. But you do still feel that the Jamaican lady was justified in tearing down Black people?
I feel the Jamaican lady was speaking from her perspective. And she said what she said based off her experience.
I'm not trying to agree, but isn't that the problem though? That if the minority's speaking for the majority, don't we got to do something about it and start pushing back? Kind of like what Chaotic said, like stop letting us be defined by the people, the least amount of people.
And I'm not
had poor behavior. Go ahead.
Right, and I'm not disagreeing with that, but I also feel like we would be some fools and we would be doing ourselves a disservice if we do not take into consideration that the perception that it's had of us. Even as talking about with the neighborhood, why do people not want to live around Black people? I don't think white people are sitting around having this conversation in the opposite. It's us as Black people having the conversation. I don't think we can joke around and say, oh, white people are moving in the neighborhood, a Starbucks is coming, a Whole Foods is coming. That means white people are coming, the property values are going to go up. It is the complete opposite when we move into a space. White people are having different types of conversation.
Okay. Can I ask Alex a question real quick?
Yeah, and I got one more topic I want to hit. Go ahead, CT.
Alex, are you familiar with the inhabitants of Papua New Guinea?
No.
Okay. Or what about the Aborigine of Australia?
A little bit.
Okay. A lot of these people still live like it's the Stone Age, especially in Papua New Guinea. Do you respect their perspective as well of America as well?
What would their perspective be?
I don't know. I'm saying if they had a perspective of Americans, particularly American Blacks, would you say, you know what? That's their perspective. I respect what they have to say about American Blacks. Would you say that too about those people too?
Just because I respect it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to. Just because I agree with it doesn't mean I have to respect it. If that is what we are showing them, no different than if we are in another country and people are watching Black people on TV, and if all they're seeing that we are robbing, shooting, stealing, and we're only in these particular realms of work, that is their perception of Black people.
Even though those people are first of all, in Papua New Guinea, they live like it's a Stone Age. They kill each other left and right. They have no advanced infrastructure like we do. You're telling me as an American, you would really sit there and say, well, you know what? They do watch TVs of Black Americans. They have their perspective, and you respect that.
Yes, that is their perspective. That is what they're being shown.
Okay. Do you know what I think about people like that in third world countries?
What do you think, yeah?
You're lucky we don't have a drone over you right now.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
When has the conqueror, we are the conquerors, and we are allowing the weak people to literally dog our country into submission now? Do you know, and I'm going to go back to China. Do you know that the Chinese government 2 days ago refused to meet with Lloyd Austin, who's the Secretary of Defense, because that's how weak of a country we've got. Hemp, you know about this. Yeah. The Chinese government has refused to meet to talk about negotiations now in Singapore. Because that's how weak we are perceived as a nation state right now. We already got a senile president. We got a bimbo for a vice president. She talks to people like they're. Did you see her talk to the Howard basketball team? She was talking to them like they were 3-year-olds. So when people see, and we have a chief justice who doesn't know what a woman is. We have a weak government right now. We have a crime-ridden cities, and I cannot believe, Alex, what I'm hearing. You're siding with foreigners.
Because that's not the position that we're in. We're not. We're broke, right? If we're broke. We're broke.
Okay.
Yeah, let's say we're broke, and you have a rich person that's trying to give us advice, and you have a poor person that's trying to give us advice. The advice is still the same. They're telling us that we're broke. We are broke. That's the truth. So whether it comes from a poor person or a rich person, it doesn't matter. The fact is that we're broke. That's the
Gunny.
position that black people are in.
So you're gonna allow? Okay, Gunny. Let's say you're right. Would you allow one of the women in Namibia who have plates in their lips, who still live like it's the year 10 BC? Do they have an opinion on you too?
They do have an opinion. Would I like the opinion? No. Do I think that they're justified in giving me the opinion? No. Because they have plates in their lips. I have plates in my lips. Do I think that they're justified in giving me the opinion? No. But the truth of the matter is, they're pointing out a problem that I actually have,
Gunny,
that I can't deny.
Gunny, when Putin comes knocking at your door, sir, those savages in Namibia won't protect you. You know who's going to protect you? The American military. That's who's going to protect you, sir.
That's irrelevant. That has nothing to do. That has nothing to do with the point.
Here y'all go. Here y'all go again.
I can't believe this anti-patriot. Go ahead, guys.
All right, let me read this.
Anti-patriot, bro. Look at the background. Look at the. You're talking about anti-patriot. Where does the name Gunny come from? Bro, I'm the biggest. I'm a retired Marine. I'm the biggest patriot of them all. So what are you talking about, anti-patriot?
Then you should know better.
I'm anti-ignorance. I'm pro-common sense. Come on, bro.
I guess Gunny's just saying the truth is the truth, no matter who speaks it.
All right.
Gunny J. Wells with the $10 super chat. I agree with you, but doesn't that contradict your original statement? Who was that for, Gunny?
That was for CT, and Love pointed it out. Love pointed it out about 10 minutes ago. She said,
Earlier, right?
"Bro, you just contradicted yourself completely."
Kevin, hold on, CT.
And I don't agree with Harley Love on hardly anything, but she pointed it out. It was the truth.
Bruh. Kevin C, what up, Mr. Kev? With the what is $2? Love. I think it's $5. I think it's $5. It's green. A best kept secret are many solid middle class / upper class and predominant black enclaves across the U.S. 60 to 70% black, and many folks don't know. I mean, people usually know about PG County, stuff like that. One more. Chaotic Truth Live with the $2 soup chat. I want to wake up to pretty white women talking.
Put him in a fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
They're walking clubs. Like, what the fuck?
And shout out to Gary, who is also a new member. Appreciate you, bro. Honestly, man. Honestly. Chief and Q, I got to give y'all the final point on this. Oh, no. The Chief went. Q, you went? I don't feel like you went.
No, I didn't. I'm just watching the Gunny and Chaotic show.
For real. What you think, though?
Oddly, I have to agree with Chaotic. Yeah. Yeah, let me land, though. Let me land.
He dancing, Q. He dancing. Go ahead.
Because if I'm going to answer the question itself, respectfully, no, people do not want to live around Black people if they don't have to. As somebody who has lived in both Black and white communities, my experience has been better in white communities. Schools for my child have been better in higher white communities. And I did think about it too, like, okay, if I could live in a predominantly Black community where Blacks have more money, I don't think it would be much different than where they don't. And I say that in this way: less violence, absolutely. Less people hanging out and a lot of that other bullshit, absolutely. But do I think that I could go to sleep at night and at 10:30 my community be completely quiet? No. I just think that there's certain things that you just cannot take out of people. And we've heard that before, right? Like, you could take the person out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the person. I think that would still stand as true. With many of us making more money, it's just certain shit that's in us. Niggas is going nigga. So would I want to live in a predominantly white community? I'm probably more inclined to that based on my experience. So that's just my honest Me keeping it above.
Wow.
Interesting. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Hit that like button right now if you can. It helps the channel the most. I think we had like 90 likes. We're doing all right, but we got 120 people in the chat. Definitely hit that like button for us. We truly appreciate it.
And let me add this. I'm sorry. Let me add this in because I know it's a lot of people that took that like, oh, she mean only black people. No. When I say niggas, I'm talking about you Hispanic motherfuckers. I'm talking about you island motherfuckers. Y'all niggas too. Y'all niggas too. Poppy them, y'all niggas too. So, yeah.
So you wouldn't go into all that Puerto Rican neighborhood?
I don't know. You see Park Street? I don't fucking know.
Word. Damn. All right, let me share my screen. Let me know if y'all can see the screen.
Yes, we can see it.
All right.
Black people, and they want to oppress us, and they want us to allow ourselves to be oppressed. I can't solve the problem. You guys pull the strings that close schools. You guys draw the boundaries that keep our kids restricted to the ghetto. You guys write up the restrictive covenants that keep us out of houses. So it's up to you to talk to your brothers and your sisters and persuade them that they have a responsibility. We've assumed ours for over 400 years, and we're tired of this kind of stuff now. We're not going to suffer patiently anymore. No more turning the other cheek. No more blessing our enemies. No more praying for those who despitefully use us. We're going to show you that we've learned the lessons you've taught us. We've studied your history, and you did not take over this country by singing "We Shall Overcome." You did not gain control of the world like you have it now by dealing fairly with a man and keeping your word. You're treaty breakers, you're liars, you're thieves, you rape entire continents and races of people. Then you wonder why these very people don't have any confidence or trust in you. Your religion means nothing. Your law is a farce, and we see it every day. You demonstrated it, and you couldn't walk around and talk to people, stand up in your pulpit on Sunday and preach nice little songs and say, now we're going to give thanks to the Lord for he is good and old Jesus be among us. As far as we're concerned, your Jesus is contaminated, just like everything else you tried to force upon us is contaminated. The problem exists because white people...
Yeah, heard it good, clear, well?
Yes.
So I have a question. If anybody thinks that maybe I could phrase it better or ask a better question off that video, by all means. Were are white people one of the main reasons why black people are in the state they are in? Well, obviously he referenced 400 years of captivity, and now maybe more modern day with the crack epidemic, the disparity in convictions, and then also how much time you get, back in the day from crack as compared to cocaine, things like that, so on and so forth. So I hope that's the right word. Are white people one of the main reasons why black people are in the state they are in?
Absolutely.
And I think it started further back. Reconstruction was not successful because of the Compromise of 1877. There was backdoor deal that was done to provide the moderate Democrats in the South an option to be released from their responsibilities to let go of land, so that we can begin to so that our ancestors can begin to profit off of what was done and what was agreed upon in the law. So it started there, and I think ever since then it was just a downward spiral. As I said, I think that there are communities that have, done their best and people that have invested. And I will agree again with Chaotic. Our elitist group of people have invested time, created schools, created education centers so that communities can be built. But there comes a time where we do not have a fall through. We do not have a fall through. We give up our knowledge. We don't share our knowledge. And so the fall through does not go through, just like that backdoor deal was done so that Reconstruction basically was unsuccessful, and it starts there. And I think it is a consistent story of not completing the task. It's a consistent story.
Okay. Q, I know you came off the mic, but I know you gave the floor to Ro. What was you thinking?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think there's just so many things that have happened. Like you mentioned one of them, you know, with the whole crack era and all that shit. But I mean, it goes all the way back to the beginning, like Ro was just saying. And even in our day to day, you know, when niggas get to a certain point, like black people get to a certain point where you're starting to excel, there's gonna be a foot put on your neck right at that moment. Like it's not gonna be, oh, you're rising, you're equal. We see it all the time on jobs. People get pulled into bullshit ass meetings when you're doing well. You know, we are the threat. We are typically more intelligent. We are typically the better workers. I had a confession from a friend of mine who's probably in his like mid 60s right now, who told me back when his family came here and they are Irish, that his dad's biggest competitor was the black man on the job. A lot of times people will not make those confessions. You don't hear that shit. But I could believe it as truth, and I appreciated his transparency. So yeah, when people see you as a threat in that way, knowing your potential, they're most definitely going to do everything they can to stop you. And we dope as fuck. I've said that before on other podcasts. On our potential, we dope as fuck. But if they could put fentanyl out here, if they could put crack out here, if they could lace shit and make gummies popular and put shit in there, all that, and we gravitate towards all that bullshit, we most definitely gonna be fucked over.
Anybody have a different opinion? Gunny, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the opposite. I think it's black folks. I think that we bear a responsibility as the conquered people. We have been conquered, so it's ultimately we have to take accountability for all that. You know, we can point at what the white man's doing. We can talk about drugs, and we can talk about this, and we can talk about that. But ultimately, we can look at other races, and we can see that, you know, there's some other races have done the opposite of what we've done. So it all falls back on us. We're the ones that are ultimately responsible for the position that we're in. It's black people, 100%.
So then let me ask you.
I got a quick question. Let me ask a question. When you said we can look at other races, what other race can you compare us to that have been through what we've been through?
You can't compare any other race that's been exactly what we've been through, but you can compare with it. What was that?
Give me one that's close.
It's not a matter of being close or not. It's just a matter of it. It's a matter of adversity, and adversity comes in different forms. Adversity does come in different forms, and how we face adversity, we can compare ourselves to other races. Yes, we can. Now, the exact adversity, no, we can't compare to any other race. But when it comes to how we faced adversity, no, we failed. Like we lost. And you go back to Jim Crow, you go back to the Compromise of 1870. You can go back to all these different things. And black people figured out a way to overcome. They did. They figured out a way to do it.
Minimally.
Right.
Well, you call it minimally, but we're enjoying the fruits of our labor because of it.
Let me say this. Hold on. I want to be clear. We still don't have a permanent right to vote here. That Voting Rights Act was in 1965. We don't have a permanent right to vote. So
you have to explain that.
What don't you understand?
We don't have a permanent right to vote. That's what I don't understand, and that's what a lot of the listeners don't understand that. So you have to explain that, please.
Congress has put limitations on the Voting Rights Act of who has the right to vote, and they put it in years. So we don't have a permanent right. So every 4 years, every 8 years, whatever they decide, they have to go back and vote to pass the law. So no, we do things very minimally. So with all that education, with all that money and everything, adversity is one thing, but we have limited ourselves from what we could do, because they're always putting something in place so that we can't get there. There was no reason why President Obama's first term that Voting Rights Act was not made permanent. But you see, we have people that have been sitting in these seats for over, I don't know, I'm 43. They've been sitting in these seats for over 40 something years, and we still voting them in. So what are you saying? We're moving minimally, where you got Asians that passed Asian rights. Like, we can't look at them funny without being arrested. They did that in 30 days. So no, we are acting minimally.
Okay, so let me address one of your points. The bill that was passed for Asians. Who passed that bill? Just in general. I'm not asking you to do anything specific. I'm not trying to put you on a hot seat.
The Asian caucus, the Pacific Asian and Asian caucus, they put that out there, and the House Democrats are in the lead, in the majority, passed the law. They sent it to the Senate. We had the same majority when President Obama was in his first term, and that Voting Rights Act was not passed, and they had the room to do it.
Okay, so from the Asian perspective, how did that bill get passed? Do you think that it got passed from Asians sitting on their behinds and doing nothing? Or did Asians contribute to that bill getting passed? Did they have a voice in it?
That's what I just said.
Right. Okay. So we agree on that point, right? So when you go back to civil rights in regards to Black people, you can go back and look at tons and tons and tons and tons of laws that have been passed for Black people that came about because Black people didn't sit down. They had a standard. They had a standard that they wanted to meet, and they went out there and they fought for it. They went out there and fought for it. So when we're talking about laws and things that have been passed in this country, we have control over that. We do. We have control over that. And let's say from your point that we don't have control over it. We can't do anything else. On a minimal standpoint, we can't do anything else to affect change in our community on our own level. We can't do that. You can look at the evidence and see that we're not doing that.
Yeah, but hold on. But the thing is, Gunny, like, why we are where we are at matters. And it's funny because when I was initially thinking about the topic, I'm gung-ho on accountability. Right, like y'all know that I'm the main one who's gonna be like, nah, that's the only way we're gonna change. But when I sat back and I was looking at the reality of why we are where we are at, like, it just became illegal for people to treat us differently because of the way we look. Right, like, how old are you? Like that was 59 years ago, bro. That it just became illegal for somebody to treat us differently based upon how we look. That's recent. So I'm not even talking about the civil rights stuff in the 400 years of trauma to where trauma became our norm, right? And you wonder why we act crazy because generations after generations after generations, people go through a traumatic experience right now and they never even recover. And yet we think that we're supposed to just, automatically be here. It's happening, right? Like slowly but surely. Talk to me in 500 years from now. Then if we're still in the same place, okay, Black people, now you definitely got to take more accountability. So do we need to do better? Absolutely. Do we need more solutions? Absolutely. But to sit here and act like, it's mostly on us for why we are at is really disingenuous to the things that people face, right? Like even with look at what they did with opioids, yo. I worked at an MAT facility, medicated assisted treatment for opiate addiction. They done changed the laws for them. They do treatment. But with us, they arrested us. They broke the home up. They made them felons. They didn't allow us to vote. Like we always are having things against us. Bank of America. Look at the grant Bank of America got for Charlotte, North Carolina now. Shout out to them because I'm about to get a house through them. But why do they do that? Because when they got investigated, they were making it difficult for us to even have a step. Like we couldn't even get a house.
Wells
We are
Fargo.
literally attacked systematically all around. So it's really disingenuous when y'all come out and be like, yo, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. Y'all need to do better when we're not even far removed from this stuff. We're talking about things that happened in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s when our moms, Gunny, you look, not no disrespect, you up there, so you probably was, you know what I'm saying? You was there when we got, you know what I'm saying? So I just feel like, come on, man. Like
No. I definitely want to let you cook, man, and you make some valid points. But I want to bring this up really quick, and I'll hop off and let somebody else talk.
Before you rock, let me just get this couple super chats real quick. Mike Brown with the $2 super chat. Roe voting again, I guess. If you know, you know. Go back and watch a couple episodes. Roe said if a nigga voting, she ain't choosing him. Ray Alexander with the $10 super chat. Could this primarily be an issue of social class? Blacks from the underclass struggle with education, unwedlock children, and incarceration. Yet upper class blacks tend to do well in life. All right, go ahead, Gunny. Drop the bomb.
Yeah, Ray, that was a great point too. Appreciate the comment. And definitely, Mr. White, I definitely agree with what you're saying. You're making some great points, but getting down to the grassroots of what I'm talking about, and I'm gonna say this quick point, and then I'm gonna hop off. Why did all of us here, the entire panel, we're obviously successful, right? We obviously got to a certain point in life. Did we get there by circumstance, or did we get there because of hard work? Everyone, I've known you guys for a couple of weeks now, and we're all successful in our own right. How did we get here? We got here from hard work. Based on everything that you said, Mr. White, we've all faced those adversities before. We all have. Every last one of them, even Mr. Chaos. We've all faced adversity in life, but how did we get here? Because there was a barrier in front of us, and we chose not to stop there. We went through it, over it, around it, or under it. That's what we chose to do. So that's my point. Let's push that message to Black people instead of focusing on the wall that's in front of us.
Hey, Gunny, one question. Do you think, but is it an issue that you have to be almost exceptional to succeed? Like, why do you have to because look at all the words you're using. Broke down a barrier, overcome, jump through hoops. Why does it have to be like Candyland? Isn't that the point?
In a sense, yes, you have to be exceptional, but that applies to every single race. Because you can look at poor whites, you can look at it does. Why are there so many poor white folks out there? Why are there so many poor people of other? It's based on your character, and it goes back to how you were raised, and it's based on who you are. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
I was just saying, as Black people, we have to be 2 and 3 times as good to even get a foot in the door. That's the difference between Black people and white people. White people have the ability to go ahead and be mediocre. Chaotic, please fix your face. They have the ability to be mediocre and they can move forward. But as Black people, we have to be overly educated. We have to be the elite. We have to be the only person. We have to be the superstar. We have to go above and beyond to go ahead and to be invited in some of these spaces. I didn't know that about Bank of America, Adrian. Thank you for sharing that. But even with that, when it comes down to our home ownership, like, it's difficult for us to get loans. We are declined simply because we are Black. White people, a Black person going in, a white person going in for a loan, we can come in there with the same stuff, but the white person is more than likely to go ahead and get that loan. And it could be going back to culturally, right? We don't want these Black people having X, Y, and Z. They don't want us to advance.
So, Alex, let me ask you a quick question then. Can you tell me an Asian stereotype? An Asian stereotype?
Yes.
The Asians are what?
They can't drive.
Asians are smart.
Asians are smart. Exactly. They've earned that stereotype. So there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that pressure. Nothing wrong with it.
They earned that stereotype.
So what? We have to be 3 times better than everybody else. It's not like we're the only ones that have to be like that.
It's not appropriate to say so what. I should, and we are coming to the table with the same credentials and the same things. Why do I then have to go ahead and have to be 2 and 3 times better than the other individual? Why?
Because we're a conquered people. That's why. We're a conquered people. White people conquered this country. Whether we like it or not, we have to assimilate to white culture. That's the way it is. Whether we like it or not, that's the truth. So we have to be better than them. We have to be. That's reality.
Yeah, well, let me get one more point
Can
in.
you
One
read
more
the super
point.
chat for me? You want me to
Who,
read
me?
it? I'll read
Oh,
it.
yeah, go ahead.
Raj girl with the $10 super chat. Hey Raj, you've been showing a lot of love. I appreciate you. I blame the black elite. You niggas move to their neighborhoods and beg your kids to be schooled by whitey, then say we have nothing when we gain success. Build your community. I'm staying in my own. Okay.
Shit like that. Shit like that.
Okay.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like
All
that.
right.
All right.
But
So what I wanted to say was, Gunny, I feel like I'm with you in terms of how we move forward. That's how we are going to have to look at it. But how we move forward and the reason why we are where we are at is two different things. There hasn't been enough time for the majority of us to be able to do it. Even when you look at home ownership, a lot of us are first generation still. You know what I'm saying? Before we even got into ownership, whereas them, they had generations and generations of it. They've
Good point.
always known how to live free. We don't even know how to live free yet. We haven't even been free long enough. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it hasn't hit the majority of us yet. Now we can take it 400 or 500 years from now, and it's still like this. Then okay, cool. But I'm with you too. Like we definitely need to do better and be accountable because we see the things, we see the things that the way that they are. And I think black people are doing better. We are having more business owners. You know what I'm saying? We are supporting each other more. There's still different obstacles that we have to face. But again, we got more business owners, we got more homeowners and things like that now than we've ever had. So we're getting there. The progress is just not going to be swift, especially when they are still attacking us, right? They are still doing it to this day. So
let me. You good, eh? I want to get.
good, man. I ain't capping it, so I ain't gonna get all. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Can I broke something Alex said, Ham?
You hitting? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
This myth that blacks have to be 3 times better, she could be right, but I have a counter to that. Hugh Jackson, black NFL coach. He's one of the worst NFL coaches of all time. He repeatedly was hired to be head coaches of football franchises. Hear me out. He had the worst record in NFL history, if I'm not mistaken, with the Cleveland Browns at 0-16. Kamala Harris, Karine Jean-Pierre, and Ketanji Jackson Brown are the worst appointees, if you ask me, in history of any president. Ketanji Brown didn't even know what a woman was. This is supposed to be a Supreme Court justice. That doesn't seem like she's 3 times better than anybody. Kamala Harris, I mean, let's be honest. What has she really done as vice president? I don't think she's, other than Spyro Gyro, I think they've named her one of the worst vice presidents of all time. She ain't 3 times better than nothing. Hold on for a second. Let's be honest. McCain versus Obama, a war hero versus a junior senator. Obama wasn't 3 times better than McCain, but Obama won the presidency. Lori Lightfoot, she's not 3 times better than anybody, and she had a disastrous mayoral incumbency to the point where she was the only mayor in Chicago history to not get reelected for a second term. Marion Barry, who was he 3 times better than? He was my fraternity brother. Nigga was
the best mayor alive. Well,
smoking crack in a hotel somewhere. But last but not least, hold on for a second. Let me read something to you guys real quick. Do you guys know who Don Thompson is? I didn't think so. Don Thompson was the CEO of McDonald's. During his tenure, McDonald's faced challenges, including increasing competition. During his tenure, McDonald's faced challenges, right? It is worth noting that evaluating the performance of his... Hold on for a second. It was noted that he was not a good decision maker. His leadership style was terrible, and stakeholders were dissatisfied with his CEO. That's why he wasn't hired again. Blacks are not 3 times better than anybody a lot of times, or at least from the way I see it. But go ahead, guys. So
Hey, let me just get the super chat real quick. Mr. Gary Grant with the $22 super chat, Canadian dollars. In 1965, there was only 2 black millionaires. In 2023, 1,800,000 black millionaires. I think we have overcome. The only freedom we are missing is all in the mind, mental slavery.
Wow.
I got
can I point
one
something out
more.
real quick? Hey?
That's
Yeah.
bullshit.
Let me just get this last super chat. You finish, huh? Finish off real quick, and then I need to get Q in. Chris Creative, $5 super chat. Thank you, Chris. We appreciate you. The problem is decision making. 73% single parent households, 7,600 average black murders per year, high youth crime. No one is doing these things to you. Go ahead, Kat, make the last point. Now let me grab Q. Go ahead. Now we might have to discuss this right here. Go ahead, CT.
No, and back to Don Thompson. While he was the CEO, they had McDonald's had declining sales, and nobody talks about that. So this whole myth that blacks are 3 times better or have to be 3 times better, I don't know where that comes from. A lot of blacks are handed positions, and a lot of blacks fail at these positions, and nobody talks about it. But I'm the Negro whisperer, so I will whistle blow when I have to. But back to that guy real quick in that commercial. Thank you so much, Jay Riddle. Jay Riddle with the $10 super chat says Japan was nuked twice, and their country has the number 3 economy. Germany was split in 2, the number 4 economy. Both countries were conquered, which is true. And in 70 years, their countries flourished. How much time will it take? Well, their work ethic is impeccable in both countries, particularly in Japan, even to the point where people commit suicide in the hikikomori culture in Japan. Thank you so much, Jay Riddle. I knew you would know
And
about
also,
that.
let's not forget that they also got a lot of U.S. government dollars too.
And so have blacks.
Let's talk about that.
But they're also their own country. Like we can't they're also their own country. We're in a country where we are discriminated against. And with
I've never been
things that have been systematically done to oppress us. So we're talking about with blacks in somebody else's country versus people who have their own country where something happened to all of them and they are all on the same page. That's a huge difference, guys.
But Mr. White, respect to explain a country like let's say, for example, Liberia, that gets foreign aid from the American government. They get foreign aid in the billions every year. How do you explain Somalia? They got $10 billion under the Biden administration. Why does it still look like biblical times over there?
Again, I don't know who's running the stuff over there, but my point was to why we are struggling here. And
are you struggling?
Anything consistent or close to what we as Black African Americans here have to deal with.
So you made $100,000 last year. How are you?
It doesn't equate.
Sir, my good brother. Yeah. You made $100,000 last year. How are you struggling? A Ukrainian was getting their face blown off, and you were making $100,000 last year, and you're driving a Land Rover. How are you struggling again? I'm curious. You drive a Land Rover, right? What are you driving?
Nope. I drive a
BMW.
Nah, I got a little what you call it? I can't even think of it. Little Kia Sorento.
Okay. I'm curious. How are you struggling, by the way?
I didn't say I was struggling.
Oh, okay.
I'm not struggling either.
Yeah.
You have your veteran benefits, right, Gunny?
Was that?
Veteran benefits, right?
I do. I'm 100% disabled vet. Yes.
Absolutely.
I want to point something out. Why you rich?
What was the point of that question?
My point was you're not struggling. You worked in the military. You have retirement. You have benefits. So yeah, that's not the average person though.
Yeah. Right. I want to point something out. While you rich Negroes are living in a lap of luxury, Ukrainians are getting their faces blown off. I just want to point that out real quick, just to let you guys know that there's a war in South Sudan brewing real quick right now. So I just want to point that out. So I don't know how African Americans are struggling compared to most people on the planet, but that's just me though. I just want to point that out.
Will with the $10 super chat. Hamp, you should do a show on the Supreme Court case against Harvard. A lot of the statistical metrics show that African Americans were being admitted with lower credentials.
That is true. A lot of Asian American students had to score. Roller Skater Texas girl, thank you so much for that $20 super chat. Thank you so much. A lot of Asian American students were being denied entry into the Ivies, and their standard. I think their score had to be like 1,600, while African Americans would be 1,200. I think that's injustice to Asians, if you ask me.
I would love to get more background on that because I think that's kind of propaganda. I just
no,
want to know
it's
more
true.
about
It's
that.
actual court cases.
I'm just, but no. But what I'm saying is this: I just want to, because they can say that, and I just don't trust the elite, right, making the decision, because they can sit there and purposely go to certain demographic to get someone that they know won't succeed to prove their point on purpose. See, we let them in. They shouldn't come in here in the first place. But I want to know more about that study. So I kind of agree with that super chat. I might read up on it myself in my spare time, because I don't believe. I think it was what's the word? I'm sleepy. What's the word? Bet against you. What's the word, y'all? Not bet against you, but help me.
You're on your own.
When you, I know, I am. I feel like I'm on my own. When you purposely have your narrative being supported, you'll purposely find someone.
Confirmation bias.
Say it one more time, Hamp.
Confirmation bias.
Yes, I mean that's a part of it. It's confirmation bias. You'll purposely go out to find to throw the weight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so you're saying potentially they let those people in so they can prove their point, so they have to let them in anymore.
Exactly. That is what I'm saying. But there's a term for it, and I just couldn't think of it because I'm sleepy. Yes, that's what I believe. That's what happened. I don't just trust that they found a creme de la creme and they just failed. No.
I never broached the clip that you showed with that black guy from the 70s. Chaotic Truth Live in the chat says Hamp drives a convertible BMW. I think that guy
6 kids. Chaotic. I don't got no damn BMW.
I think that guy should be ashamed of himself. He's probably an old man now. If it were not for the white man, I gotta say this, he will be living in the Stone Age right now. The white man, he came into Africa. He saw the Negro was living like biblical times, and he ushered in Western civilization. Alex drives a Maserati. She probably does. Exactly. And it is shameful, man, that we disrespect and dog Western society also. And that's what that black guy was doing in that clip. He's using the clippers that were made in America, probably. He drove to that barbershop in an American car, probably. He's in a building built by Americans. And he has the nerve to dog Western society. It's shameful. Even
built
in
by his ancestors. The building that was probably built by his ancestors.
Whether they were built by his ancestors or not.
By his people.
Which may be true or not, but again, it's this disrespect of Western society that I just find mind-boggling.
I didn't think that was disrespect. I think that he was in that time, he said from the 70s, he was speaking, not anecdotally, he was speaking his personal real-life experience. And so, yeah, you can wave it off, but it's true.
I bet you that Negro had a white wife. Keep it real.
But you can't prove it. Just like we can't prove that your wife's even black and is upstairs waiting for you. Again, more proof.
Ma'am, I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. I don't have a upstairs. No, I'm playing.
Back to my point. That man was speaking to his experience at that time. And he absolutely, everything he said was true and factual. He was saying, how can I trust you and trust this government when you have a history of lying? You have a history of backstabbing and betrayal. So I don't see anything he said was wrong. And you had that same old tired, statements about driving an American car and he'd have been in some mud hut in Africa. Like, those are so late and tired. You say the same things over and over again. I think you have a script. And I've been rocking with you tonight, though. But I'm just letting you know, you read from a script. But that man that was maybe had been left in Africa, he could have been successful too. But if that country and if that continent wasn't raped and pillaged, then who knows what could have come of the different nations there. Number one. Number two, you can't, you literally, truthfully cannot deny that there's a history of betrayal, lies, and backstabbing in everything I
What's the
mentioned.
betrayal?
There was
name it.
The
compromise of 1877.
Thank you, Rotunda.
Okay, what was the compromise of 1877? What was it?
That's where the backdoor deal went after President Lincoln passed away, where they gave the moderate Democrats from the South, they freed them from their obligations in giving Black people their 60 acres.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. How about this then? Can I ask you a question then? Who did you vote for in the last two elections? Which side of the aisle?
I didn't vote the first one, and the second one I voted for Joe Biden.
Okay, who's a Democrat? Miss Risky, who did you vote for? What side of the aisle? Hold on for a second. What side of the aisle did you vote for?
Somebody read this super chat so I can get off the screen.
Gunny J. Wells, $10. Yeah. Go ahead. You want to hear your voice? Yeah. Go ahead, Chaotic. You got it.
Gunny with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Says Hamp got 6 kids. He drives a Nissan. Sienna super fan. Now, Miss Risky, I gotta ask you a question too. You said that there was betrayal, and Roe mentioned the compromise of 1877, which was executed by the Democrats. I'm curious. Who do you vote for in your local elections, and who do you vote for in your state?
Democrats back then was a different population.
They were different. Why were they different?
They were different because they were Southern racist.
They were Southern racist.
They were. They were.
I didn't know that.
The Republicans betrayed Black people in the Compromise of 1877. That's a fact. Look it up. It's not on Democrats. It's on Republicans. Exactly. That's a fact.
Exactly.
Republicans stab Black people in the back.
Exactly.
That's the truth.
As they usually do.
Can I ask you a question? Under which side of the aisle, according to history, which side of the aisle has done the most dirt to the quote unquote Black Americans?
Democrats.
It's a fact.
Democrats. But we're talking about the Compromise of 1877. That's Republicans stabbing Black people in the back. Let's make that clear.
That most of the criminal activity that is done in the government is done by Republicans, and they've broken that down per states.
So give me an example. Give me an example of when Republicans have done this to Black people.
Have done what? What have they done?
You said that Republicans
They've stolen money.
When did they steal money?
They've tried to steal votes.
When did they try?
Let's talk about that.
Okay, when did they try to steal votes? The Republicans.
They tried to steal votes in the last election. Oh,
you mean the last election that was supposed to be
down there in Fulton County?
Okay, so you're telling me the last election. Now. So that's funny. The Republicans tried to steal votes, but somehow the Senate and the White House are Democrat led. That's funny because the Republicans don't.
I didn't say they were successful.
Yeah. What are y'all arguing? What are y'all arguing right now?
Because I'm trying to figure out if the Republicans are so bad, why is it the Democrats run the House and run the Senate and run the White House?
Who stated that they were a Democrat?
Rose said that she voted for Democrats. She brought up the Compromise of 1877 as a betrayal for Blacks, and she's saying that the Democrats are different.
I didn't say I was a Democrat.
Chaotic. Why can't you just let her statement land? You asked her a question, she answered it.
Because her statement makes no sense. Because again, you vote for the very same thing that quote unquote has been oppressing you.
Okay, so then just say that. But y'all going back and forth. Just say that. She made her point. You could debunk it by saying that. Just say that. Get over
it. I'm just asking questions. I'm sorry.
But I think we have a responsibility to the listeners, though. When she brings up the Compromise of 1877, her point leans towards the Democrats. But what I was saying was that if her point leads towards the Democrats, then that's factually inaccurate because Black people did not support Democrats back then. They supported Republicans, and the Republicans were the ones that so their points kind of nullify each other. So it's just. It's inaccurate to even bring that up as a point in regards to what we're talking about right now.
Can I say this real quick? You and I both know that the Democrats were prevalent in the southern states. They were the slaveholding states. Let's be honest here. Why do we lie, bro?
We didn't. I didn't. I never said they weren't. I
So,
said
Ro,
moderate
you're telling
Democrats.
me, but you were telling me about betrayals,
That is a
and you're.
betrayal because
But why would you vote for the very same party that betrayed your
because
people?
the party changed, and you know that it changed.
No, it did not change. It's always been the same. Huh?
It
Well,
did.
Okay, can I answer your question. When did it change? Because Martin Luther King up until 68 was a Republican. So when did it change for black people?
You knew that it changed when the Civil Rights Act was signed, and they began to give black people rights, and they started to migrate to inner cities, and they saw that majority of the Democrats change their way of thinking as far as coming on board with progressing the
Ro,
black.
are you a
False.
Democrat, Ro? You're not even a Democrat, right?
I'm not. That's why I'm just saying I don't even know why he's even going back and forth with me.
But Ro,
What
you
happened
voted
is
for
you
a
said
Democratic
As
Biden.
an independent, I'm able to vote as
So
a
you
Democrat
thought he was the best candidate, is what you're
because
saying.
I thought he was the best candidate. It had nothing to do with me agreeing totally with Democrats and whatever it is that they're doing. I'm actually a conservative economically, socially, but I also believe that we need to home in some things. So yes, I do.
You're a conservative socially.
I am an independent. I am.
Wait a minute, ma'am. How can you be a okay? You said you're conservative.
I can't be a conservative, a social conservative. I can't believe that somebody that needs assistance can get assistance, but they don't need to be on it for the rest of their life.
Therefore, you are aware conservatives don't believe in socialism.
See, that's the problem. You guys put these narratives out here, and that's not necessarily true. I can be a social conservative and say I believe in assisting people, but not for the rest of their life.
So you're a conservative who believes in the welfare state?
I'm not gonna go.
No. This is a good dialogue. I'm asking you a question. Are you
it's
a
fucking terrible dialogue, actually.
Who believes in the welfare state?
I do feel a little bored.
No, seriously, Ro, are you a conservative believing in the welfare? Because you said you're a social conservative, right? I'm just
consider myself an independent who believes that people need assistance. They get assistance. They don't need to be on it for the rest of their life.
Yeah. So you're willing to pay for that assistance as a conservative, as a hardworking person?
I am, but not for the rest of their life.
Okay. I'm just asking the question. I'm just going by what you're saying. Okay.
So, Chief, they done been everywhere.
Every fucking where, and that's that damn question been scrolling at the bottom of the screen for an hour now, and been danced all around.
So, what you think? You answer it directly.
Hold on, I'm shout out to Chris Creator with the 499 super chat. That's who we going with it. Arabs and Muslims were taking millions of African slaves 800 years before Euros came to Africa. The South became republic to get rid of all racist democratic govs.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, Chief,
I've been waiting to hear what Q had to say because she's been leaning in. So I would really like to see what she got to say.
You don't want to answer it, Chief?
I kind of was leaning what Mr. White was saying in terms of there's still bias towards black people. Even in we have to be like Q was saying. Or Asia might have been saying, Love might have been saying, we have to be 2 times better. But even if in many cases, in some cases, we are 2 times better, we still lose out on opportunities solely because of our skin color. And it's not, you can't sit here and deny that. And Hamp, I'm a little disappointed in you. You let this nigga get away with a bunch of outliers as his justification for many of his arguments, and that ain't something we do on the podcast.
Well, yeah, like what?
Well, I mean, that wasn't necessarily him, but the Harvard situation that came up when he looked to his left and spit out 17 names that he had looked up and all that shit. Those are outlier situations. He pointed out a couple black people who had fucked some shit up and blamed it on them, but in actuality, they have had experience in their life where they've been held back as well. We don't know that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. I mean, I thought somebody was gonna say it, but yeah, I can jump in if y'all can't handle it. No worries. So, what that?
I was letting nigga go. He was going. I was letting him go.
Yeah, I mean, I thought somebody was gonna say it. So, what Chaotic pointed out was tokenism. Tokenism doesn't prove a point. You know, like Kamala didn't earn or deserve, but they plug her so we be quiet. So the AKAs or do they what is it called? Strolls.
So listen to your point. They plug her so we be quiet. So that doesn't imply bias right there.
Yeah, I'm saying that I'm listening. I'm thinking y'all listening to the same shit I'm listening to.
But that's what I was trying to get in on.
Okay.
Yeah, but I watched you bark at people, so I wanted to shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to get barked at this episode.
No.
I didn't say anything. And you said tokenism. I disagree with that. That's exceptionalism. He's pointing out people that are exceptional and people that we should hold to. We should hold ourselves to that standard. That's the reason that he's pointing it out.
Yeah, but that wasn't the emphasis. That wasn't the emphasis he used when he gave those names, though.
Say that, yeah. Those names were people who did poorly in the positions, and what he did was exceptionalism when he named Robert Smith and those people in his earlier soliloquy.
Okay, my bad. We're talking about two different things. My bad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he talked like the dude. Sorry, what's the gentleman's name from McDonald's? He did a bad job, but CT used him as a CEO to try to further the point. Well, we know that's just a token because black people are like, oh, we do got black CEOs. Right, so that and we get fooled, right? We like song and dance, right, and smoke screen. So I would have kicked his ass on that point. I just thought y'all was going, you know what I mean?
What I heard was basically that black people have gotten these opportunities and have done a poor job with those opportunities. I don't believe that President Obama, for example, was given the opportunity to be the first black president. He was put in that position to look like an ass so that we never vote black again. It's like, if you can't see that by now, I don't know what the fuck kind of crack you on, scared. Like, and so, no, it's not that he was given that position and then he just ironically did such a poor job. And why are blacks complaining when you were given the opportunity to become the first black president and you could not succeed at it? So if that's the point that you were making, all that shit was bullshit. They're gonna select certain people, and I think Love been hitting it all night, in my opinion. Like every fucking topic, you've been on it. She literally said something to that. Like, you're gonna be chosen to look a certain way so that it controls our mind to be like, now you see how he failed. I've asked so many black people, what is it that Obama has done for black people? I never have gotten a successful answer. Somebody always gonna talk about fucking Obamacare that they didn't even have. Or some other bullshit. Nobody actually says, well, he did this and he did this and he did this. This motherfucker was in, I think it was Boston, and got ran up on by cops trying to go into his own house. Obama done sat there and drank beers with the fucking cops that ran up on him. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was he really doing for the black community? They allowed
President of the United States. That's not his job. Y'all got to know the job. That's not his job.
Right, but Ro, let me land.
You mean Henry Gates, right? Yeah.
Look at all of the things that went wrong under his quote unquote leadership when it came to black people. That definitely was an agenda. And I think black people are still sipping the Kool-Aid. Some of y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Obama?
Like, you gotta open your eyes the fuck up.
I don't know. Obama actually did a lot for black people.
Like what?
One of the things is that, and a lot of people don't know this, but all you got to do is go do your own research. Obama was number one in kicking out illegals. Get up out of here. He was number one at that. He kicked out so many.
Shut that.
No, but hold on for a second. Think about what that does for black people, though. Don't black people always say, "You coming here taking our jobs"? Hold on for a second. He was not only was he number one, but he was the greatest at it. He kicked out so many illegals and number two is Trump. That even Trump doesn't even compare to it. I'll tell you what else Obama did, and I gotta give him his props on this. Hey man, he was bombing the shit out of other countries, man. So when people say what he did for black people, I'm like, well, he's kind of protecting the interest of the American people, and the American people are black people. So he did a lot for blacks. I mean, globally
those 2
speaking.
points you made are fucking nonsensical as it applies to black people.
Okay, they may be nonsensical, but
that shit don't make no sense. It doesn't. It's not applicable to black people.
But
black people ain't complaining about. Black people aren't the ones complaining about the minorities or the whoever's coming and stealing our jobs. That ain't us doing that.
Well, Chief, wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, wait a minute. What's going on in Chicago right now? The blacks in Chicago, they actually were successful recently at stopping funding for all the illegals coming up from the South in Chicago. I did a live stream about it. Hamp, tell them. So the blacks do have a vested interest in a lot of this political stuff at the border. Just look it up. The blacks in Chicago, thousands of them protesting that all these dirty illegals coming in.
Outliers.
Right.
You're
talking about
that could be an outlier argument. But blacks,
one thing he did domestically is he extended the Disability Act. So therefore, those of us, those black people, some of the hereditary things that we have, you now can get jobs because you have disabilities such as high blood pressure and diabetes and things of that sort. He extended the Disability Act. So you are able to get jobs and work when you're on these disabilities. That is something that he did.
Okay,
Yeah.
but bro, would you
He also killed Osama too,
No,
by
but-
the way. Let me
hold
point
on.
that out.
Nah,
Oh my
fuck
God,
that. Y'all
please.
both fuck that. Job. A job ain't nothing but modern day slavery. Let's
The
be
point
real.
is, a lot of people couldn't get work because they had disabilities, or they had gastrointestinal issues, or they had cancer, or they had because they weren't a part of having a disability. So now they can work where they couldn't work at all. They also can get health care where they couldn't get health care at all.
Right, but again, now you're gonna take me somewhere else because we start talking about healthcare and big pharma and all that shit. All that.
I mean,
is-
but what I'm saying is he did something
all
and he did what he could do under his duties. We forget that
No,
the president
but
of the United States cannot single out one group of people. That is not the way it works. That is not his job. He does not create laws.
But did he get those quote unquote votes because they just thought Obama's gonna
No,
bring
we
change?
got the
Everybody
votes.
heard those narratives. Big
You
enough
got the
to
votes
black
because
president.
your congressional representatives were out there advocating for him. That is their job. Your congressional black caucus that sit up on their butts and
Yeah,
don't
they
do
very
anything.
well.
That's their job. That's not your president's job. That's your job to get on them to get him what he needs to sign.
And it would have never happened. That's what I'm telling you. So to Chaotic's original point, how the fuck was he doing a poor job at his job?
I never said that.
So he
I
wasn't
never
listening
said-
to that number of people that didn't
I-
that had up.
I said that there's this myth that black people have to be 3 times better, and I listed a lot of blacks who've been in positions
Mhm.
that done mediocre jobs. Again,
So
again,
wait, okay. So are we not saying the same thing? What
no.
the fuck is mediocre?
Again,
Not
no.
good.
Again, in terms of scalability, Obama is not the worst president. He's not even close to being the
I didn't
worst.
say he
But
was
he
the
wasn't
worst
one of the
president, but
greatest
you're also
either.
saying he did
But-
mediocre work, which is not good, correct?
Ma'am,
Make it make
Ma'am.
sense.
ma'am. All I'm saying is that it was said about 40 minutes ago that black people have to be 3 times better. All I said was I don't agree with that. I'm not telling you guys to agree with that. And I named Obama. Obama wasn't 3 times better than George Washington, who, in my opinion, is the greatest president of all time. Okay. All I'm saying is that as a black man, he did do certain things that were good for black people and America, but he wasn't a bad president, but he wasn't 3 times better, because who was 3 times better as a president was George Washington.
Okay, but
That was
Chaotic,
3 times
what
better.
is your definition of mediocre?
James Buchanan, Jimmy Carter. Those
No,
are
I didn't say
mediocre.
examples. See, that's the listening part.
Joe
What is
Biden
your
is
definition
okay.
of mediocre?
A president. Okay, in terms of a president,
No,
a
just in
president.
general, because you used the word. So
Chaotic
what you
is
said-
mediocre
what did you say?
synonymous. Is it synonymous with average?
Mediocre, in my opinion, is synonymous with somebody who is just going through the motion. Like, oh, okay, I got to go to work today.
Right. So that
That's
doesn't make you
mediocre.
a good worker, right?
Average. Okay,
Average.
it's average.
Right.
Just like Joe Biden to me is a very average president. He doesn't care about So
but
what I'm saying is
that you're not doing. That means that you're not doing your best right there. You're not doing
right.
a good
But
job.
I will admit Obama is better than, but he's not better than Trump. He's not better than George Washington. He's not better than W. He's not better than these presidents.
Right,
He's
and
just
nobody
not.
said he was, but
I never said that you did.
Right, but you also didn't say that in your original statement either.
Again, going back to the original statement was, I forgot who said it, but what's her name said that blacks have to be 3 times better. And all I said was that is incorrect because I gave examples that I know of where 3 times better. That's all I'm saying. There's these myths that we create about blacks in this country. I don't know why we create these myths. You don't have to be 3 times better. That's a myth.
No,
Just
it is not.
job.
You pulled out crap examples. You're
I could
talking
pull
about
out perfect examples
where they were put in place as a pawn. You're not going to.
Nobody put Obama in place, ma'am. Q. Obama was elected. Do you have any facts that he was put in place? Who put him in place?
Chaotic, you gotta open your eyes the fuck up, bro.
Who put him in place? You said it. Hold on for a second. I am opening my eyes. I'm gonna open my eyes up to what you just said.
Because I'm telling you right now, you'd have been up in Jonestown. You'd have been up in Jonestown with the way you think. I'm telling you right now, you'd have been up in Jonestown.
I'm asking you who put him in place. You just said it. Who put him in place?
The powers that be.
Who are the powers that be? What are their names? What's the name of the institution?
I don't fucking know these people. These
then why say something that you don't know?
I don't sit beer with them and
being a
go
conspiracy theorist. This is
and chop it up with them. But clearly, they're
how would you know that?
And you don't know the motherfuckers either.
I never said that he was.
Just like you don't know people. You just like you don't know people who. You don't know the people who run television programs. But clearly, there's a fucking agenda with that. And when people step away from it, they are more intelligent. They speak more intellectually and they understand things differently. There's a fucking agenda and you got to open your fucking eyes, man. That's all I'm saying to you.
I am not a conspiracy theorist. That you're free to be a conspiracy theorist all you want. I don't believe in conspiracy. I believe that Obama was elected, democratically elected by the people. I believe we also went to the moon. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Okay, I think when you become a conspiracy theorist, you go, and then you make other conspiracies. That's what people tend to do with conspiracies.
Chaotic.
Why was Obama?
Let me be completely fair. People who do believe in those as they call them conspiracies have said things about a lot of this technology. You fast forward 10 years later, there's truth with that. People
give me an example.
Those said,
all right, give me an example.
Oh, smartphones and their function.
What about smartphone? But what about smartphone?
You've never been talking before, and you've said something completely off topic. You go on your phone, and all of a sudden, it's up in your feed somewhere.
Maybe. Yeah, or maybe baby is like that because you've also searched those things too previously.
But that's not what I just said. I know what I said. I said it for that purpose because that's how it happens.
Okay.
So
there have been.
I'm saying, but aside from that, those quote unquote conspiracy theorists, and I'm not saying conspiracy theorists are 100% right, just like I wouldn't say you're 100% wrong in everything that you say, right? Those people have said, there's going to be some shots that are going to come in the future that are going to be mandated that you take this particular vaccine. You fast forward, and what the fuck were people mandated to do to keep their jobs? So
just don't say it.
The baby out with the bathwater.
Mm-hmm.
Q, can I ask you a question? It's very personal. Do you smoke weed?
That's a personal question, but yes.
I think. Listen, no offense.
There's no offense to be taken.
You might be getting paranoid here.
No, I doubt it.
Because I doubt what you're saying, but this is going down a road.
Ask me a better question. How often do I smoke weed? What type?
Maybe once a month. Maybe once a month. 2 times a month.
Absolutely the fuck not.
Okay, ma'am.
Less than that.
Ma'am, it's very possible that.
But I just accused you of being on crack. So where are you going with this? I'm a weed head and you on crack. So let's have a fucking conversation.
What I do in my spare time, your business.
Wow. Wow.
First of all, but man, listen, the dangers of going down is that you could possibly end up like Alex Jones. saying stuff like, "Oh, there were no real kids at a school getting shot up." It's possible. That's why I don't like going down conspiracy.
Come on, yo.
So I don't know if Obama was picked. I don't know. I don't have the evidence behind that. It's possible, but I just can't say that, oh, he was picked to be president. Maybe he was just democratically elected. I don't know. Is that just a possibility too?
Q, are you saying that they were selected?
I respect that more.
Are you saying he was selected like, the party gets together and they decide they're going to put their energy into somebody? Or are you saying in the background they just decided that would clarify for us?
I'm saying that as Americans, y'all missing the big picture, and a lot of people have been saying a lot of bullshit in the super chats too. At the end of the day, in this country, Black people are probably going to be the most free, the most liberated, and able to build financially better than any other country. That could be the case, right? But there's going to be a certain point where you're going to get capped. You're not going to be able to say, let's come together, put our resources together, and start building these schools and hospitals in our own community within this country. That is not going to happen. That's what I'm trying to say. And I think people are kind of missing that point. Yeah, you can get to the point of having a Ferrari. You can get to the point of becoming a billionaire in America. That's not a problem. When you start to take those billionaire dollars and you want to put them in certain places to better your Black community, good fucking luck, because every door that can be closed will be closed. Y'all think it's not a reason that they put these rappers with all these cases on them in positions to make money? Yeah, because when you decide, oh, I want to do something for my people, oh, you got this felony against you, you got this fucking closed door, you don't have an education, you don't have a master's, whatever the fuck they can pull, but it's going to be something that's going to stop you dead in your fucking tracks. And y'all acting like y'all don't understand that shit.
So Q, you saying there's a glass ceiling no matter what. And then when they position you, they only position you in places where they can take it away.
To an extent.
Okay.
We gonna go for, you're gonna see success with a lot of us. To Chaotic's point, yeah. Somebody driving a Maserati or driving a convertible BMW. Yeah, you're gonna have those freedoms, right? But everything comes with a fucking cap to it. This is America. You keep succeeding and trying to help your people and see how fucking America gonna pop up like, hey, motherfucker, you forgot about us? Q was trying to tell you on the podcast. You forgot about us? I'm telling you.
Word. Yeah, I mean, I think, what about what about just a simple fact that, well, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that people hire people that look like them, or they're more likely to?
Yes.
Anybody else?
I
can't hear you when I post it.
Yes.
My apologies. Yes.
They do, and when they don't, it's for a purpose. I was asked at one point to do a fucking labor meeting against an employee, and my employer at the time told me, oh, I really wish on the call you would have said that you're an African American woman. That would have helped our case more.
Oh, for like unemployment?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm about to say. Okay, yeah. I mean, I know I hire mostly people that look like me. I think if people continue to perpetuate that, there's naturally going to be less opportunities because there's less people that look like us as you go up. Or am I wrong in that?
You're right.
No, you're right on that. I think people do that though because they can identify. Like it's a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't think it's yeah.
What a point I was trying to make with that.
Yeah, you're right, Lo.
See black people in certain positions sometimes, and you're that one Black employee on the job. There's a purpose behind that, but we don't want to look like we don't hire outside our race.
Chaotic, are you fucking serious?
Get out, man. You know you violated. You can't hire based off of race, man. I just want to point that out. You broke the law. Breaking the law, man.
Man, but don't say it too much more. Good gracious. Gary Grant with a $2.20 super chat. Jalen Rose and LeBron James open schools. And we got one more from Kevin C. Good discussion, but there were information gaps regarding Black history, Black politics, systemic issues, Black individual and collective behavior. I mean, yeah.
So Chaotic, are they able now to take those schools and create an all-Black community and have those kids go to that all-Black school in their all-Black community?
What are you talking about?
HR's right here.
Well, I'm sorry, Q. What do you mean? What do you mean, Q?
So you're aware that LeBron opened a school, right?
In Akron, and he didn't open the school. His name is on it. I trust me. I know all about it.
Okay.
His name is
he's from Ohio.
Yeah, his name is attached to it. LeBron had nothing to do with that school.
Okay.
He's a figurehead. But go ahead.
But if you agree that America's this great country, do you think that, let's say, an NBA player or 2 or 3 open schools, that they would be able to have those schools in just Black communities?
Yeah.
To just teach Black children.
Yeah, because there's schools right now in Black communities that just teach Black students. Yes.
And
matter of fact,
so you're saying
I mean,
they would be able to build up a strong Black community within America.
Yeah, I mean, that concept is nothing new. Elijah Muhammad in the 50s. Matter of fact, it was called University of Islam. Independent schools that were solely ran by the Nation of Islam. I think a few of them are still running today. Blacks, nothing is stopping Blacks from opening up their own schools. My fraternity brother, he's in his 50s. He opened up his own charter school. There's nothing stopping him from opening up his own charter school and just having Blacks there.
Charter schools are easy to open for Black people.
I mean, there's nothing stopping you from opening up your own private school. I don't get what we're talking about here.
I'm talking about Black people being able to have strong Black communities within America and not have this stereotypical image that this Jamaican lady was attacking when she made her video, or that people get told about when they come to America, the Black communities.
Yes.
Black people. So we would be able to elevate past that.
Again, in my opinion, the reason why those stereotypes exist is because Americans, particularly African Americans, give too much credence. I think credence is the right word to use to these people. I think that's what it is. These people are not worthy of conversation. I think that African Americans should start dogging these people. Like, who the fuck are you? I think openly and being disrespectful about it. You come from a mud hut country, literally. Sorry, Gary. I know you're from Jamaica. I know I rock with you, Gary. But Gary talks about Jamaica. It don't matter. But yeah, it's like, I think that's what happens, man. You gotta start putting the foot down, a clamp on these people.
So you're saying southern states like Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, there can be successful all Black communities around these racist ass white people.
Oh yeah.
Who's to say that the whites are racist in the first place? And sure,
you've definitely been in Jonestown. Go ahead. I ain't got nothing else to say.
Ma'am. I would not have been in Jonestown. I don't follow any leader, especially some white man. And I know all about Jim Jones. No, I would not have followed Jim Jones anywhere to Guyana, which was a poor country. Never.
Yeah, but Q, down south is where you probably find those communities at. There's issues everywhere, right? I think we don't run a lot of the. Go ahead.
They're thriving.
Yeah, sometimes we don't run a lot of the infrastructure, so there's white people involved, but you just use the big ones: DC, Atlanta, Houston, and we have a lot of say so there. We have a lot of influence there. We run a lot of businesses. We own a lot of land and property, a lot of gated communities in those areas. Just using some of the big ones.
Schools and hospitals predominantly Black and all that.
Yeah, look, the high school I coach football at 5,000 kids, 99.8% Black, and we get 5 or 6 5-star kids a year. So, meaning ranked ESP. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, you'd be surprised. You got it when you see it, you may be taken aback, but literally everybody's Black.
No, I grew up partially in South Carolina, right? And I went to predominantly Black school. To your point, about 98% Black communities, Black town, mainly Black.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, yeah, the corner stores and all that owned by Black people, some restaurants, etc., owned by Black people is not that common, though. And I think that I just have to say that and put that on record. That's not that common.
What's not that common, Q?
Predominantly Black communities where people are thriving in Black in large numbers in Black communities around racist as white people. That's just not.
I think in certain areas there are, as we all know, and again, I'll use Atlanta as an example. Georgia as a state as a whole, no. The city of Atlanta and the suburbs, yes. South Carolina is one of those states where, I mean, like y'all have a big, major, like economic space between rich and poor people. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's her
there's,
point, I guess.
huh?
That's her point. If it's few and far between, then I guess
In
her
the state of
more
South
valid.
Carolina, yes.
But
there,
even the point you just made with Georgia, bro, you said Atlanta in the suburbs, yes.
but
The rest of
majority of the
Georgia,
people
no.
live there. The majority of the people in the state live there.
No, I know, but regardless, it's not in the rest of the state. It's just where you said it was. So Q's point would probably be more valid because up north it's not like that. And then down south we have some pockets. Go ahead, CT.
Can I ask Q a question? Q, have you ever personally experienced racism?
Absolutely.
Okay, and did you report it to the FBI or any court?
No, I was like young when that shit was going on. Older, all in between.
Okay.
I've been a lot of places, but I also have white friends who live in fucking mansions that I've been to their houses too and been the only nigga at their table. So if you're trying to come for me in that way, Chaotic, you just
No, I'm just asking questions. And the reason why I asked you, Risky, why you were tall, because you kind of have broad shoulders, not like dude broad shoulders, but like
okay, now I'll beat your ass too.
No,
Yeah, I got broad shoulders. I work out.
No, maybe
shit like that.
How tall are you? You're like 5'9", 5'10".
How tall are you, little nigga?
I'm short.
How tall are you?
I'm
He's sitting there trying to come for me in my shoulders. What?
I'm like Muggsy Bogues height. Put it that way.
You better keep on talking to Q.
Q, I get what you're saying, but no offense to you, Q, and I hate to put your business out. I've been on your Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen your Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
You're not oppressed. You're not downtrodden. You're a wealthy American. You're living better than most whites in Eastern Europe. You're living better than a lot of whites in Western Europe. You're living better than most Africans. I think what it is, and hear me out, and I could be wrong, Q. I think that you're a fighter. And I think that you live in an era where you don't have to fight. And I feel like you want to fight for something. I feel like if this was like 1945, you would have definitely signed up for the military. I think that you're yearning for something. And I feel like it's not just you, but it's most Americans, particularly Black Americans. It's like you're yearning for something. So you create oppression. You create, how many people call into my channel, and Hap could tell you.
Wait, what the fuck are you talking about? Now I gotta stop you. Yep,
Q, can I just finish?
You cannot.
Q, I was quiet while you were talking. I may have been moving my hand, but I was quiet.
Creating oppression.
Q,
Make that make sense.
I was quiet while you were talking. I may have been moving my hand. I was on mute. But what I'm saying is that Hamp could tell you, people have called into my channel and they would tell me all these race stories that happened to them. And then when I would ask questions, come to find out that the people were over exaggerating or even downright lying. And I feel like you suffer from that.
No, that was
wealthy American. Q. In my opinion, this is what you come off to me. You're yearning for something. You're a fighter. I could tell. You're yearning for a fight. And I get it. We live in the lap of luxury in America. There are no more great wars. There's no oppression. There's no famine. There's nothing here really to fight for. It's really the lap of luxury here. And I've seen your IG posts. I've seen the Maserati. Is that a Maserati that you just bought? No offense. I gotta put you out.
Maserati,
okay.
Right,
I see the $1,000 golf club set in the back. Yeah. Ma'am, you're not downtrodden.
$75 set. That's
ma'am. Put it this way: Ukrainian, ma'am, people in Liberia can't buy golf club sets.
That's not my problem, though.
I feel like you're yearning for something, and you're yearning for a fight, and you've created this.
Chaotic. On this particular podcast, a few minutes ago, I said how free Black people would be in this country, probably more compared to any other country, right? So
I wish I
have
could
no,
talk without getting cut off. But go
I
ahead.
have no issues with saying that. I just said, yeah, we'll be able to be billionaires, have Maseratis, all this shit. I said that, right? What the fuck does that have to do with me really experiencing racism?
Ma'am, I'm trying to explain it, but I keep getting cut off. What I'm trying to say is that I don't think that you've experienced racism in your life.
And that's your opinion. But you
Yeah,
could keep it there. You
okay.
gotta keep filling in.
But what I believe, what is happening in America, not just with you, but with large groups of people, even with white people, that's why we probably have so many incels, is that there are no more wars, great wars. There's no new frontier. There's nothing to fight for in this country anymore. Everything is pretty much handed to us. We are spoiled, wealthy kids on the block,
But
meaning
what does that have to
meaning
do with
Americans.
racism.
You've never
Real.
oh, what's
asked
up?
me that, and
Let
I told you.
that hang.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
Network, man. We appreciate you with the $50 super chat, man.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
Network with the $50 super chat once again says, shout out to the thought provoker, chaotic truth. This channel is growing. Salute. Pound. Q is my trigger. Think she can raise a boy into a man just like a man could. Salute for your thoughts. Thank you, man. We really appreciate it. Q is the I like that hashtag.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that.
Network. It seems like I am your trigger because on that particular episode where I spoke about that, I specifically asked men what things they do that actually raises a boy to be a man. That they were things that I carried in my own household from my own teachings. So yeah, I'm gonna stand on that. But I'm glad that I'm your trigger.
Go ahead, CT.
Listen, maybe I'm in left field. I was drinking earlier. I don't know if my point is getting across. I'm gonna say it again.
You haven't made one strong point all night. That's the problem.
I would love just to talk real quick if I can.
That's evident though.
Okay.
That part is evident.
Okay. Again, ma'am. What I've noticed in this country is that there is this sentiment for people to cry oppression. There's the sentiment for people to cry victimhood. And it's not just blacks. It's whites as well. It's other groups of people. You hear about people talking about they're depressed, mental health, et cetera, et cetera. And I tell people, well, what about all the atrocities that are actually taking place in other countries where people are actually going through religious conflict and ethnic conflict? You're not going through that here. And what I'm saying is that I've experienced you before.
No, you have not.
Yeah, no, ma'am. No, Q. I have.
No,
I went to school with you.
No, you did not.
I wish I could talk about getting cut off. Now,
no,
normally mute when
there's no facts there. That is
normally
no truth, chaotic. That is no.
I'm not saying you physically,
right?
But the character that you are.
No, you have not.
And it's just like Love is Risky. I went to school with people like her. Yes.
Wow.
That's the crack talking.
Hold on for a second. I went to school with Risky, with Q's,
with you guns. Have not.
I've worked. Yes, chaotic. I'm telling you, you are yearning.
I am a rarity, which is why.
No, you're not, ma'am. You're yearning for a fight. Ma'am, you can't even name the people who harmed you racially, right? Who? Okay, if you experience racism,
why would I name drop those people from that?
Well, why not? Well, why not?
That's not going to prove your point, and it's not going to prove mine.
No, but
experience, and I have the stories. I don't need to prove shit.
Ma'am,
clearly you think you figured me out, and you went to school with me before.
No, ma'am, I have gone to school with you before. I've worked with you. I've worked with your people. Yes.
Chaotic. As much of a rarity as you are as a wigger is as much as a rarity as I am.
Wow, I'm a wigger.
Never been to school with
So,
somebody. I can
No,
hear
Alright.
Q.
all right,
Listen.
yeah. So CT, you're saying that you've seen types similar as Love as Q. They disagree.
Yeah.
You know, people think they're unique. We understand that, but
absolutely.
expound on that type and finish your thought real quick.
Well, if I can, without her cutting me off,
Yeah, she got you.
Q, and I'm going to use her for example. To a degree, and she comes off as a liberal to me. There's nothing wrong with that, but she comes off as very open-minded, free-spirited. Nothing wrong with that. And the fact of the matter is that I went to school with people like her, high school, college. I've worked with people like her. They want to be the attention. There's a little bit of arrogance to her, and there's nothing wrong with that either. But I've heard these same cries before, and not cries in a bad way. I've heard the whole racism thing, the whole white man is bad thing, the whole oppression thing from these types. And I look at these people and I look at their life and I say, look at what America has done. It has created spoiled brats, and I'm included too. Our roads are paved. We have beautiful skyscrapers. There's a worker shortage. We can get any job we want. And even still, we cry about oppression, about the white man. Even though we have blacks who are affluent, you have whites who came over here from war-torn countries. In one generation, they became wealthy. And then their grandchildren are crying about oppression too. Even white kids. It's mind-boggling. So when I was in college, Q would have been the same girl living in a $3,000 a semester dorm on her $5,000 iPad with a socialism sticker on it. Q, tell me not like that. I can look at you and tell. Yes,
you're absolutely
risky. Risky.
What does that have to do with?
Can I finish? Can I finish? I'm almost done. Can I finish? I'm almost done. I'm not.
You don't gotta defend it.
Risky, just like love is risky. Just like love is risky. I went to school with people like her, pro blackity black. She don't like white girls probably, but she'll be the same black female. She'll love to work for the white man's company. She'll hear me out, driving the white man's car, living in the white man's community. And if you call her out on it, she'll say that you tripping. We are spoiled Americans, and I don't know why we pretend. There is no white supremacy, Q. The white man isn't racist. If he was racist, trust me, there would be no black success stories in this country. Blacks are very powerful in this country. I would even say my fraternity brother is I've said it one time. My fraternity brother is wealthier than almost every white who lives in Montana.
I thought, where does Warren Buffett live?
Wyoming.
Wyoming. Okay,
yeah, Wyoming.
Well, go ahead.
And so what I'm saying is that Q, I'm not right, I'm not wrong. I'm just giving you my opinion. You're trying to convince yourself of white racism. You can't convince me of it because I know for a fact that whites have done great things on this planet, particularly in this hemisphere. I don't want to speak no clickety-clack language with a plate in my lip with no running water. But that's what would happen if there was no white people coming into Africa. So you can't convince me of some white racism. I look at it as white civilization building. But go ahead, man. You got the floor.
Gary S., shout out for being a member, bro. We appreciate you with the $5 super chat. For the record, Q, you are really cool.
Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit like that. Shit
Damn,
like that.
man.
Shit like that.
What's going, Chaotic?
Can you highlight Kevin's real quick when you're done?
Kevin.
He said CT's comment tactic.
Hold on. Oh, which one?
It's up at the top. It says CT's comment tactic is to distract issues. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, all right, real quick. CT's comment tactic is to distract with issues from other countries whenever the topic issue is about issues in the United States. Black
Now-
Americans have zero attachment to Russian-Ukraine war.
Now, first of all,
Exactly.
what's going on in the Ukraine does affect Black America. Last time I checked, I went to the store, marble rye bread, which I like buying because I'm an uppity Negro. It's damn near $7. You know why it's $7, Kevin? And I rock with Kevin. It's because of Ukraine. Ukraine is number 3 or number 4 as a global food supplier. So yeah, I do care about what's going on in Ukraine. But here goes the thing, Kevin. And I rock with you in your super chats, but there ain't no dollar signs behind your super chats. It's the sign. So you're in another country. You're in another country talking about what I'm talking about in another country.
Put him in a fucking bedroom. Get him out of here.
All right, Kevin, go ahead, guys. Go ahead.
Hey, that's a good point. The ladies actually jumped on him the other day about being in Honduras, I think.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man Real Bravado Network with the $5 super chat. Here we are, baby.
We are having this conversation on the white man's platform. Laugh my ass off. We need the white man's permission for everything. Laughed out loud, allegedly.
Okay, gotcha. Hey, man, you know. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, hit that like button right now if you can. It helps the channel the most. This has been a dynamic and awesome discussion. Yeah, there might have been some gaps, but I think everybody did a hell of a job of performing their points. And as we chop up the videos and clip it up and clickbait it, we will see what the comments say. I think the key is we don't believe you. You need more people. If you know who the second best rapper alive, then you understand what that means. So the comments often tell the tale. You know what I mean? So we'll see who wins out, man. Hey, I really appreciate everybody for joining. I appreciate people coming members. This has been an awesome and dynamic discussion once again. All the pussies who had to get off early,
Put him in a fucking bedroom. Get him out of here. Come on.
it's only 12 o'clock and y'all don't do a lot of work at work, especially Alex. But that's my man's though. I don't really fuck with Jerry Springer, but I do like one of his constructs.
I'm looking at the chat. I'm sorry. I'm looking at
yeah. Look, he's still going. He's still going. Ro, final thought.
You are only the problem that you fail to find resolutions to. Educate yourself so that you can find resolution.
Word. Love.
This was a really good panel tonight and a good topic for discussion. A lot of valid points and heated discussions were conducted tonight. So to salute to everyone on the panel that gave their commentary. CT actually, I liked him a little bit tonight. I did. And, you know, he should be a comedian. I think he's lying about his wife. What man's going to be on the show, running his mouth for 12 hours a day and not be in the bed with his wife? Like, sir, cut the lies out. You ain't got a lie to kick it. Just say you're single. You live alone with your Yorkie and you're Yorkie for your chairs.
Yeah.
Word. CT.
I definitely enjoyed the panel. Kevin with the Honduran 75. Salute to you, Kevin. Positivity is coming your way. Kevin says, CT, this is for you. I travel back and forth to the US of A on a regular basis. So I stay up on issues in the US of A. Malcolm X movie, Keep Your Hands Out My Pockets. Salute to you for all the gentlemen who were on the panel. Mr. White, Chief. Also, salute to you. Love is Risky. Q. And Q, thank you so much tonight for giving me smoke. I definitely enjoyed your back and forth. And like I always say, I don't think I'm ever right. I'm just a dude on a floating rock in infinity. And I don't know anything, really. That's one thing I do know. So you could be right. The only thing I do know, which is right, is mathematics. Thank you so much, Ro. One thing I can say, and I'll keep on saying it, I love white culture. I love white society. And I wouldn't have it any other way. And I'm not going to sit up here also and let some foreign from Jamaica disrespect America. If she disrespecting Black Americans, she disrespecting America. And also to anybody who's in the UK, you may talk about Americans all you want, but you're gonna need our crazy American asses when Putin comes knocking at that door. That's all I gotta say. Oh, and not just Putin, but Xi Jinping. But go ahead, guys. Salute to you. Thank you so much, Ham.
Word. Q.
I just want to say, y'all be safe out there. They putting fentanyl and everything, so stay woke. And too chaotic, cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Word. No, man, I really appreciate the passion and the energy that came with every argument. I just want to state this for the record. Chaotic Truth is pro-black.
Yes.
Okay. And I think, you know, we want to hear smooth things, and when we get the stick as opposed to the carrot, we bark at it. But the stick is equally as important, you know. And so when he delivers to us in a certain way, we don't like it, but I think there's some truth to it. And I think one thing he mentioned before, be quiet, Chaotic. One thing he mentioned before is what you do in your community shows that you pro. He said this before. The coonery is killing each other. The coonery is taking advantage of each other, right? The coonery is having sex for women and not taking care of them, not taking care of your kids and leaving them and having kids out of wedlock. That's the coon shit that we do. The coonery is free hemp on the shirt because people go to jail for because they supposed to, right? So the things that we perpetuate make us pro-black, not the shit that we try to play into. So yeah, man, y'all did a hell of a job. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend.
Peace.
And we out.
Thank you guys so much.